Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto leaves Konoha after being blamed for Madara's attack since Akatsuki was after him. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Just outside Konoha, Konohagakure. It's been 7 years. Looks the same from here, but I wonder how much has really changed. In a tall tree about 100 yards from the village gates, a man a little under 6 feet in height stood looking over the hidden leaf village. He wore a black hooded robe covering most of his body and shadowing his face. Looking at him, one could see that he was muscular. Not overly large, but not small, and well-toned. Well, only one way to find out. I guess I'd better get going. The man jumped down from the tree and started on his way towards the gates. Near the gates, 2 ANBU guards stood watch near the gates. "Hey, Niji, check it out," one of them said. The Hyuga prodigy looked in the indicated direction and noticed a hooded figure heading towards them. He activated his Byakugan but was surprised at what he saw. "Ten, I'm reading a very low amount of chakra from this person. Almost too little to detect, and the Tenketsu points aren't even showing, so should we be worried? Be on your guard just in case." "Right," the weapons specialist agreed. Within moments the figure arrived. "State your business here, otherwise you may not be granted permission to pass." The mysterious figure simply reached inside the robe and pulled out a letter and handed it to her. She unfolded it and read it over before handing it to Niji. "Well," the Hyuga began, "it seems that whoever this is has an appointment with the Hokage." "What is your na?" He and Tenten looked up only to notice that their visitor had disappeared. "And you were the one saying to be on guard." "We have to find that person and quick," Tenten said, taking off. Niji quickly followed suit while as he radioed other ANBU to be on the watch for their hooded visitor. Within the village, the hooded man made his way through the crowded streets, making sure to keep a low profile. After a few minutes of wandering, he eventually came to the Hokage's tower. Looking around, he noticed 5 ANBU who seemed to be on the lookout. 3 scouted the rooftops, while 2 searched the street. Wanting to reach the Hokage unnoticed, he decided to create a diversion. Hopefully this works. He pulled out 2 pouches of money and threw them in the air, launching shuriken at them and slicing them open, causing the money to rain down over the village people. "Hey, it's raining money!" a villager exclaimed and began jumping after it. Before long, people were fighting for what they could grab. Hey! Calm down!" one of the ANBE yelled, jumping down from the roof. The others quickly followed suit in an attempt to stop the villagers before any unnecessary deaths occurred. Unseen among the commotion, the hooded figure quickly made way to the Hokage tower, which he entered, proceeding immediately to the office. Fortunately, the ANBU in the area had moved outside to try and separate the villagers, making his trek to the tower's top easier. In the office, the Hokage sat at her desk sorting through papers and looking over mission reports when she heard a knock on the door. "Come in," she answered. She looked up as the door opened to see her visitor. "I was informed of your arrival. I take it you are the reason for the commotion in the streets?" "Maybe, but I'm here for business, as you know, so let us get to it if you don't mind," the man responded. At this moment, Niji and Tenten had just reached the office. "Tsunade-sama, there was you!" Tenten screamed upon seeing the person they ran into at the gates. Niji walked up and placed the letter on the desk. "Sorry for leaving hurriedly, but the visit is rather urgent," the man replied. Tenten glared at the visitor. Niji, not wanting to have to deal with an angry Tenten during the rest of the shift for guard patrol, quickly grabbed her by the arm and led her out of the office. The man turned to Tsunade. "I ran into them earlier. Anyways, what is it you wish to discuss?" "As I informed you," the blonde Hokage began, "I believe we will require your aid if this war is to escalate. I spoke with Jiraiya. He claims you've come a long way over the past several years. I have also heard of your accomplishments in IWA and Kumo. There were also rumors of you being involved in some happenings in Sakegakure, village hidden in the sky, as well as in Oni no Kuni, land of demons. So that's how you found me. I can't say I expected you to care to know my whereabouts. You know that I would have never made the..." "Enough," the young man said sharply, pulling down his hood to reveal his stern gaze. Tsunade looked upon him, noting he was a very handsome man. What surprised her most were his eyes had slits, as well as his canines, which looked more like fangs. "Look, you have to understand that there was nothing I could do. If I kept you in the village, they would have arrested you and had you executed. You're the Hokage. You could have had them arrested and executed," he countered back. "But let's leave that alone. How much are you paying me? We will meet with the council to decide. Until then, enjoy your stay in the village," Tsunade said. "I will see you later." "Whatever," the stranger said, pulling his hood back on. "Oh, one more thing." "What's that?" "Jiraiya and Yumi are waiting on you at the Hokage mansion. She and her mother are free to stay there during your time here in Konoha. You will also have a sparring match against Guy, Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurenai to test your skills for proper evaluation." "Thank you, but I'd prefer to stay in my father's house." "Oh, and why do you need to test my skills?" Hishinobi asked. "To know which missions you will be able to handle," replied the Godame. "I can handle anything you throw at me." Upon completing his sentence, he vanished in a swirl of black flames. In the village streets, the man in the hood made his way to his favorite ramen shop and took a seat. "Hey, How about some pork ramen? I'm starving. The brown-haired hostess snapped around. A little more respect would she stopped upon seeing the face of the customer. Hey, long time no see, the shinobi said grinning. Father! Father, come quick! I have a surprise for you. The girl called. Tucci came out. What is it, dear? He asked his daughter. Look who's here. The man turned to the customer, and upon seeing who it was his eyes widened. Well, I'll be damned. How have you been? Business just isn't the same without my number one customer. How's life been treating you? I missed you too, old man, the stranger replied with a chuckle. Things have been okay. I'm still alive, so I can't complain really. Since I don't know the next time we will get to see you, you are free to have anything you want on the house. No, I couldn't. Let me. Don't worry about it, it's fine. I am. Fix him up some of his favorite. Let me tend to these customers over here. Yes, father, the girl responded. So, how have you been? The shinobi looked up thinking for a slight moment. Well, things have been okay for the most part. I do missions for money whenever I can. I have actually been in Wind Country often. I've been staying in Suna whenever work is scarce. I see. Do you think you will be here for a while? I have no idea, to be honest. I know the village is at war. Me personally, I don't have any intention of fighting, but if the pay is good enough I might consider. I can understand, what happened to you was unfair. I don't blame you if you would rather not assist, I said while bringing him a tray with a few bowls of ramen. I would feel the same if I were you. Thank you, he said picking up his spoon. You and your father have always been so kind to me. Itadakimasu. The blonde then began devouring the food before him. I see your appetite is as big as ever. I know, came the response mixed in with slurping. I've been away from good ramen for so long. I'm having withdrawals. Ha ha! Come on, it isn't that great. Trust me, I wouldn't eat it if it wasn't. You don't understand. Your ramen completes me. Silly as ever also, said shaking her head. Well, enjoy your meal and your stay in the village. I have some dishes to tend to. I hope to see you again before you leave, so you better stop by. Not a problem. Enjoy your day, The man quickly finished his food. He looked up at the clock. Well, it's about that time. I bet both of them are already waiting. They're probably getting impatient too. I'd better hurry. He then vanished. Near the Hokage mansion. Jiraiya-sama, where is he? The white-haired sage looked up from his writing. I don't know, he's usually not one for tardiness, so I am sure he will be here shortly. No need to worry, Yumi, the dark-haired woman sighed. Okay. But if he's not here soon I will kick his ass. As if on cue a hooded man arrived. Yo, where have you been? I was eating. Do you know how long we've been waiting? Yumi, I'm sorry, he said. It took me longer than expected to get to the village. Well, Jiraiya said. You should be more careful. Had you not shown up she was getting ready to kill you. Oh, the hooded man glanced at Yumi. You should know not to keep a lady waiting, the toad sage said. Be polite to women, especially when the woman is your fiancée, Yumi added. Ero-sennin, what do you know about being polite to women? All you do is. Before he could continue he was cut off. Help me carry my bags, Yumi said. No, Yumi glared at him. What was that? We aren't staying here. We're staying in my father's house. Where might that be? Yumi inquired. Want me to lead the way since you haven't been there before? Jiraiya asked. Well, you could, the man in the hood began. But then you know I could always. No! The white-haired sage shouted. Why? Do you want them to know? The toad sage asked. I guess not. You do have a point there, he agreed. In that case follow me. This better not be a long walk, Yumi said, expressing her discomfort. I want to take off my clothes and relax a little bit. Okay, you can as soon as we get there. The blonde shinobi said as he picked up some of Yumi's bags. So sensei, I take it you all got here without running into trouble? Yep, not a problem, Jiraiya replied, starting down the path into the woods. Where is Yumi's mother? Oh, I let Sakura show Kaoru to the hot springs. Why her of all people? Well, I could've. No! Don't even say it. That will leave me with mental images that would scare me for life, the hooded man said with a slight shudder. Why else would I say it? Jiraiya asked jokingly. After a while of walking they finally reached their destination. I guess this is where I say welcome home. This is where your parents lived. I see, the man in the hood responded as he looked over the house. They carried the bags inside and looked around. Everything seemed to have never been touched or moved at all for the past 22 years. Each piece of furniture, paintings on the walls, pictures and books on the shelves, they were all in place. He noticed a picture on a stand, off to his right. He walked over to it and picked it up. Hey, Yumi said with a voice of concern. Are you okay? What is it? Hey, it's my parents and me as a child, he replied, waving the picture slightly. Yumi and Jiraiya moved next to him to take a look at the picture as well. Ah, look how cute you were. Got your dad's hair and your mother's face, Jiraiya said with a slight chuckle. Explains why I look so damn good. Maybe even look better than my dad, he said. Only way to find out would be to ask the older generation to evaluate you. How do you propose I do that? They do modeling competitions. If you go out there and show off your body to the whole village you will die, Yumi declared, turning to her fiancé with a cold, stern gaze. It's not worth it, let's get out of here, the man said, returning the picture to its place. I'm gonna put my bags up first, Yumi stated, moving into the next room. Did Tsunade inform you of your test? The toad sage inquired. Huh? he asked, slightly puzzled. She mentioned something to me about having a few of the Jonin test you. You know, gauge your abilities? Yeah, she mentioned that, the man answered. Did she tell you where? Jiraiya asked. No, she's getting old. I bet it slipped her mind. I'll be sure to mention your thoughts on that when I see her. Erosen, and if you do I swear I'll. Training ground 3. The hermit said, cutting off his apprentice and vanishing in a cloud of smoke. That bastard, he groaned, then felt a pair of arms around him. Hey you, I missed you. You know that, right? Yumi asked, kissing him on the neck before he turned to face her. I know, I'm sorry I took so long. I had to meet the Hokage before joining you guys. You sure took your sweet time, but I know how you are with ramen. You wouldn't shut up about it the whole time we were planning to come here. Well, I like it high quality. All the other places make shitty ramen. The man exclaimed. But hey, apparently I have to fight these people to test my strength. You should come. Okay, but, you owe me, the girl said, tracing a finger across his chest. How do I owe you? I just carried your bags like 5 miles. You should be the one who owes me. It was more like 2 miles, the dark-haired girl countered. Either way, you still owe me. Why? I wanted to get naked and lay around and not do shit. But you want to drag me along on your little evaluation or whatever. What do I owe you then? She motioned for him to come close before kissing him and whispering in his ear. Understand? She said, grinning. Yes, ma'am. With that they vanished. Konoha Jonin training grounds. Surprisingly, the training grounds were crowded. Many shinobi were sparring, training individually and practicing jutsu, trying to better themselves and each other due to being in wartime. Kiba, Shino, Sakura, and the members of the former Team 9 were gathered around a tree in its shade. Some were sitting, others standing. All had their attention focused on what was happening on the training ground, mainly the match between Kakashi and the sole surviving member of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke. Numerous Sasuke fangirls were also present as spectators. So Shino, who do you think will win? I do not know, Kiba, the bug user answered. What about you, Chuji? The Akimichi clan member put a hand to his chin, evidently thinking. I have no idea. They seem like they've been evenly matched so far. It is hard to truly make a good guess, a pink-haired girl said. We already know who you think will win, forehead girl. What did you just say, you piglet? Troublesome women. Both girls turned to the source of the voice. A young man, sitting against the tree, hands behind his head. He opened one eye upon feeling the glare. What? The blonde girl yelled at him. Shikamaru. How dare why? Ino, will you and Sakura be quiet please? Kiba groaned. Let's just watch in peace. Hey guys, how's it going? The group turned to see a few more shinobi headed their way. Among them were both Niji and Hinata. Over the last few years they had grown closer and had a more apparent brother-sister bond. Hinata had also been able to become more confident after training with Niji. Although she still didn't have her father's approval, she had shown that she was indeed powerful. Asuma, Kurenai, and Guy were present as well due to their scheduled meeting to test the mysterious shinobi's skills. Hello everybody, Hinata greeted. What all is going on? Asuma inquired. Well, Sasuke-kun and Kakashi-sensei are sparring. Sakura informed. Hope Kakashi doesn't put too much effort in, Kurenai said. We still have an assignment to tend to. What do you mean? Sakura asked. Well, Guy began before the genjutsu specialist could answer. Tsunade-sama requested that Asuma, Kurenai, Kakashi, and myself should meet here to gauge the abilities of some hired help. Tenten and Niji looked at each other. Niji, do you think? I know who it is, the Hyuga replied. I used the Byakugan to catch a glimpse in the Hokage's office before we left. Who? I probably shouldn't say, because if we were supposed to know I think we would have been briefed on it at the very least. What are you two talking about? Shikamaru asked. Well, a few hours ago Tenten and I had guard duty at the western gates, Niji began. Some individual in a hood approached and gave us a letter saying he was to meet with the Hokage. The letter stated it was about Konoha hiring him to aid in the war. Then by the time we looked up, we noticed he disappeared while we were busy reading over the letter, Tenten added. But we ran into him later in Tsunade-sama's office when we went to report the incident to her. Well, whoever he is we are supposed to fight him, Kurenai said. Who could it be? Kiba asked. I mean it has to be someone well known or powerful if he captured Tsunade's attention. True, Asuma said. Hopefully he can make a difference. Enko, Yamato, Sai, and Genma had just returned from a mission, but decided to see what everyone was gathered for while passing by. What are you all standing around for? Nothing better to do? Enko asked. Well, we are watching Sasuke and Kakashi spar for the moment, Ino said. Then I guess everyone is probably going to stick around to watch Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai and Guy fight this mystery guy. Oh, our hired help finally arrived, huh? Genma said. Any of you seen him, or her, whoever it is? Niji and I did earlier. Didn't see his face though, Tenten admitted. She turned towards the training area noticing a silver-haired Kopinin was missing. Looks like Kakashi is planning something. Everybody else turned in the direction she was looking to observe. A dark-haired man dressed in black pants and sandals, along with a blue shirt and black Jonin vest stood in the middle of the field, eyes closed. He was waiting, listening, taking in his surroundings, searching for any irregularity in the area's sound. Hearing a swooshing sound, he spun around opening his eyes to reveal a pair of Sharingan. He grabbed the two kunai headed his way. He looked up, seeing his aggressor coming down from above. He launched both kunai upwards, which his silver-haired assailant deflected with shuriken. Both began forming hand seals, katan, Gakkaku no Jutsu. The silver-haired man unleashed his own attack to counter the fireball, Suetun, Suijin Hiki. A jet of water came from his mouth, dispersing the flaming ball and heading towards his opponent. He landed on the ground and noticed his opponent was nowhere to be found. He felt a presence behind him, but before he could turn around, a kunai was placed to his neck. "It's over, Kakashi," the dark-haired shinobi declared. "That was too easy. I think you let me win." "It only lasted but a few minutes." "True, I didn't want to put too much effort in. The Hokage had a special assignment for me." "Even so, you've improved tremendously, Sasuke," the copy ninja noted as the pair walked towards the group of spectators. "What would you expect?" Anko smirked. "He's going to be Rokudaime after the war is over." "That's what the council says," Kiba said. "The Hokage still has a say in the matter." "It's not likely she'll make a decision anyway," Shikamaru said. "There was only one person who I know she would have jumped in a heartbeat to choose as her successor. Considering what happened to him, I doubt she's enthused about the thought of making a selection anytime soon." "I suppose that's true. So I hear we were to be expecting a visitor?" Kakashi inquired. "Yes, and it seems he's taken a page out of your book for tardiness," Kurenai said. "I wonder if he even made it here." "He's here," Chuji informed. Tenten and Niji said they ran into him earlier, and he already met with the Hokage. "Well, I guess we should just wait here until she shows up," Anko said. In the Hokage Tower, Tsunade just finished her paperwork and was going to head to the training grounds to watch the mercenaries' performance against her selected Jonin. Just as she was about to leave, she heard a familiar voice. "Finally stopped making shiz and do your paperwork, huh?" The buxom blonde turned to see a face she hadn't seen in 7 years. "Jiraiya, long time no see." "It sure has been, hasn't it?" the Toad Sage answered. "What brings you here?" "I can only assume that it's business." "Yes. I am also here to find out the reason behind your call for my apprentice's help in the war." "What do you mean? What is it?" "Sending him into exile wasn't bad enough? You couldn't let him be? Why did you send for him? Are you going to try and turn him into the village's secret weapon?" "Jiraiya, I would never what? Do something to hurt him?" Jiraiya inquired. "After what transpired that day, I find that hard to believe. Jiraiya, I loved him like he was my own son. The council would have had him executed if he stayed. He would never have allowed them to use him as a weapon, and they wouldn't be thrilled about that. I had no choice." Tsunade's hurt expression was enough to appeal to the white-haired Sannin. "I am glad to see that you are still the faithful person I knew back then. I didn't mean anything by the accusations. I just wanted to make sure that your motives were pure." "It is okay. I am actually on my way to the training grounds." "I see. Measuring his abilities?" "Yes. I want to know how much he's improved." "Oh, you'll be surprised, that's for sure. I taught the boy everything I know." "Well, I can see that," Tsunade said, glaring. "Considering the amount of searching and time put into finding him, it's safe to say that only you could have taught him how to stay hidden." "A fact I'm proud of," Jiraiya said with a smirk. "Come now, we don't want to be late. A late Kage doesn't set a good example." "True," Tsunade agreed. "Just let me close these blinds. I'll race you. I will bet that you can't beat me there." "I would have to say you are wrong," Tsunade said, moving towards the window. "Is that so?" "Well, if you manage to beat me, I'll stop writing my books," Jiraiya said. "I would be doing the world a lot of good. Maybe after that men wouldn't be so perverted." Tsunade reached up, closing the blinds. "Yes, and you have to do something for me if I win." "What would that be?" She turned around to see that Jiraiya was already gone. She noticed a note on her desk. "I'll tell you when you get there, yours truly, Jiraiya." "That sneaky bastard," Tsunade said before disappearing to the training grounds. Somewhere in the streets of Konoha, the man in the hood and Yumi were taking their time and heading to the training grounds. They were about to reach the training grounds when he heard a familiar name. "Konohamaru. That's the sickest thing I've ever seen. Do that again and I'll castrate you." He turned in the direction of the scream to see a brown-haired girl, yelling at what was apparently a naked, large-eyed red-haired woman. Wow, he thought as he took in the sight. He also noticed another boy there with glasses, which he assumed to be none other than Udon. He motioned Yumi to follow him towards the group. "Interesting jutsu. Seems a little perverted though." "Who are you?" the redhead asked before changing into a black-haired boy of about 15. "I'm new in town, just taking in the sights." "What do you call that jutsu?" "It's the Oiroku no jutsu." The naked woman, who he assumed was Konohamaru, said, turning into a brown-haired boy. "My bro came up with it. Pretty neat, huh? You mind if I give it a try?" "Go ahead. I doubt it'll be good though. It takes a lot of practice." The hooded man formed a hand seal. "Oiroku no jutsu." The young boy stared in awe at the transformation. It was a woman in black leather thigh-high boots, a red thong, and topless save for black star-shaped pasties over each. She had silver hair and yellow eyes. The dark-haired woman spoke. "If you don't change back, no, I will give you 3 seconds to change back before I decide to do something drastic." "Awesome, mister." "Sure is," the stranger said, reverting to normal. "Will you train me, mister?" Konohamaru asked, grinning. "Konohamaru, you don't even know who he is," the girl said. "So? Bro's out there somewhere getting stronger, Moegi. I can't get stronger if I don't get all the help or advice I can get. He does have a point, Moegi, the boy with glasses agreed. No one asked you, Udon, the girl said, crossing her arms. I bet you know a whole bunch of killer jutsu, don't you? You must be like some kinda super awesome shinobi, huh? Konohamaru asked, excitement evident in his voice. Well, I'm actually on my way to the training grounds to meet with 4 of your Jonin. Your Hokage wanted to evaluate my abilities. You're welcome to come watch. That's awesome. I'm definitely coming to watch. The younger shinobi turned to his teammates. You guys coming? Of course, Sudan said. You can count me in too, I guess, Moegi said, still feeling a little bitter. So who's the chick? Konohamaru asked. This is my fiancée Yumi, he replied. She's hot, I know it. She's much more than that too, the man said, winking. Anyways, what's new? Well, there was a meeting not too long ago. Seems like the old lady's finally gonna retire, Konohamaru informed. What? Who's gonna be the Hokage next? Well, she didn't pick a successor. So what? It's just gonna be the council running things. Well, Konohamaru couldn't finish. What is it? The stranger asked, waiting for an answer only to receive none. They pick Sasuke, Udon said. He turned towards the boy. Who? Sasuke Uchiha, Moegi said. I see. Yumi looked up at her fiancé, whose grip on her hand tightened slightly. She shook her head, letting him know to calm down. She then turned to the other 3 before speaking. I heard about him a few years ago. Didn't he defect from this village and join some group of rogue shinobi? Why are they letting him lead the village? Because, Konohamaru began, since my grandfather died, the village hasn't exactly been the best. Well, let's get to the training grounds, I'm sure everyone is waiting, the hooded stranger said. Sasuke is probably gonna be there since he usually trains with Kakashi-sama at this time. Oh. The man paused, seeming to be in a state of thought. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyways, when we get there, you wouldn't mind watching over Yumi for me? No problem, mister, Konohamaru said before they shunshined out of sight. Training grounds. The hooded man along with Yumi and the 3 younger shinobi entered the training area. As they approached the others gathered there, Yumi spoke. Are you nervous? No, not even the slightest bit. I have no reason to be, the man said, looking down at her and smiling. The others gathered by the tree took notice to the approaching couple. Hey guys, look. Chuji pointed at them. Is that the guy you and Ino saw, Shikamaru? Yeah, that's him. I don't feel anything coming from him. It doesn't seem like he's strong at all. I think the Hokage made a mistake, Sasuke said, unimpressed. I don't think Hokage-sama would randomly choose someone with no knowledge on their skills and abilities to aid us in the war, Genma said. I have to agree with you there, Yamato said. There must be some ability he has or something if the Hokage felt compelled to send for him. The only question I have is who exactly this person is. Well, if he looks good, then I'll find out personally. Everybody looked blankly at Anko. What? Anko, Genma started. Must you really? Never mind, no point in asking. What? A woman can't follow her desires. Seems like you desire a lot from word in the village, Kiba said, grinning. What was that, dog boy? Anko asked, glaring. Nothing, the Inuzuka said nervously. The hooded visitor and the woman with him arrived. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, he said. May we begin? Once Tsunade-sama arrives, Kakashi stated. She wants to watch and evaluate you personally. No need to wait on me too long. The group turned to see Jiraiya and Tsunade arriving side by side. I hope not. I intend to collect on my victory prize soon if time permits, Jiraiya smirked. I was talking to them. Tsunade glared at the taller man. Whatever, he said, waving her off. So the hooded stranger said. Yes? Tsunade asked. Those 4 are fighting me? He motioned towards Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, and Guy. Sasuke? Yeah? The Uchiha responded. I want you to fight him. The raven-haired shinobi turned to the hooded figure. If I do that, we might need to find someone else to replace him. I highly doubt that, Uchiha, the mystery man said. What was that? You heard me, the hooded man said. I've heard you're next in line to become Hokage, correct? That's right. Why? The current one is getting older. If I destroy you, who knows when another replacement would be found. Now, Hokage, I will fight him, but first a warm-up with the original 4 you told me I would be facing. Why? Tsunade asked. Because it will give him the time to decide upon whether or not he wants to reconsider, the man replied as he motioned towards a visibly angered Sasuke. Very well, I guess it wouldn't hurt, the slug princess agreed. Kakashi, Kurenai, Guy, Asuma, you guys are up. That mistake will lead to your failure against me, the Uchiha declared. You would have had a better chance of at the very least being able to walk away from this place had you decided to face me instead of allowing me to see you in action and study your moves. Feel free to study as much as you want, the man in the hood said without a hint of worry in his voice. He then turned and headed towards the center of the training area. No matter what you do, you will not defeat me. You can't. If you say so, Sasuke said, jumping up into a nearby tree. He sat on a branch, leaned back against the trunk and crossed his arm. You guys better not beat the shit out of him. That will be my enjoyment for the day. The 4 Jounin followed the mystery onto the training ground. The Jounin each took their places around him. Kakashi stood directly in front, while Kurenai took her spot behind him. Guy and Asuma took their places to his right and left. Hinata, do you know who it is? Niji asked his cousin in a whisper. No, who is he? The lavender-eyed girl responded. Why don't you see for yourself? Hinata activated her Byakugan and gasped. She then looked up at Niji, her shock evident in her facial expression. The Hyuga prodigy nodded at her, and put a finger to his lips. So the mystery man said, looking around. Who's coming after me first? I can sense the bountiful amount of youth flowing from your veins. Guy shouted, pumping his fist in the air. I must meet your youth full force. Why? Before his sentence finished, Guy was cut short by the heel of a black sandal which smashed into his mouth. Holy shit, he's fast! Kiba exclaimed from the sideline. Did anyone catch that? And no, he's faster than Lee. Ino said. He might be as fast, or maybe even faster than Sasuke, Shikamaru stated. How can you be so sure? Sakura asked. From the amount of effort he exerted, Niji cut in. Sorry Shikamaru, may I? Go ahead, the shadow user said. It's too troublesome for me to explain. I'd rather just watch. To elaborate further on my point, the Byakugan allows me to see how chakra moves. You all know this, the Hyuga started. I can also see through solid objects. That being said, I am able to see the organs inside his body. His heart did not change pace at all. He is completely calm. For those of you unable to do this, you can tell he didn't utilize much effort because for one you haven't been able to feel any chakra from him yet, correct? He's right, Chuji stated. His chakra didn't spike at all. He has reached the epitome of youthfulness that I strive to one day achieve. Lee exclaimed in excitement. Lee, I hate to burst your bubble, Kiba began. But you don't give off chakra anyway, so. The bushy-browed shinobi hung his head. Kiba! That wasn't nice. Ino scolded. Wait a second, Sakura said. Hinata, Niji, you two have the Byakugan, so you can recognize chakra signature. Correct, Niji replied, sensing where the conversation was going. And Kiba. Huh? What? The dog user asked. You can recognize people by smell, can't you? Well, duh. Shino, your insects can also tell a person's chakra. The pink-haired medic stated. You are right, the Aburame member replied. So all of you know who this mystery guy is, right? The 4 Konoha 11 members Sakura just called out all looked at each other, verifying her hunch. Well, who is it? Not tellin', Kiba said, turning back to the fight. Nor am I, Shino stated. Niji? Hinata? Sakura asked, looking at them. To her dismay, however, the Hyuga pair remained silent, eyes fixated on the battle. You guys are no fun. Quit complaining, Ms. Head, Ino said. Yeah, I'm trying to watch the fight too, Chuji said. Geez guys, I thought you all would be at least a little curious as to who this mystery man is, Sakura said. We are, but we'll know when we're supposed to know. So stop being troublesome, Shikamaru said. Everyone's attention turned back to the activity going on in the training field. Too soon? The hooded man asked. With his shouting, I thought he was going to attack. Maybe I misread him? Asuma pulled out his chakra blades, immediately letting his chakra flow through them. Guy, who recovered, pulled out his Sashiga. Kurenai prepared herself, and Kakashi lifted his forehead protector, revealing his Sharingan. Now let's start this properly, Asuma said. As if on cue, Guy vanished, appearing above the hooded figure was spinning his nunchaku rapidly. He brought it down upon his opponent, who stopped the attack by grabbing one of the handles. No sooner than he'd done so, he used his free hand to block an incoming kick from Kakashi. He kicked the copy ninja's other leg out from under him, but Kakashi recovered with a back handspring. The man in the hood yanked forcefully on Guy's nunchaku, bringing the bushy-browed Jonin off balance. He then aimed an elbow at his face, which Guy avoided before delivering a roundhouse kick. He watched as the man flipped over him and charged Asuma. Kakashi's eyes widened. Kurenai, watch OU. He was too late. The Genjutsu specialist Jin was met with a devastating punch, sending her crumpling to the ground. Wouldn't expect a Genjutsu user, an expert at that, to get caught up in a Genjutsu so easily. Then again, I doubt she's seen that one before. The man in the hood stated. What the hell happened, Kakashi? Asuma asked, confused. He caught us in a Genjutsu the same instant he charged you. Just like that? It looks like we'll have to take this one seriously, Kakashi. Guy said. Now that she's out of the way, can we continue? Bring it then. Guy shouted as he opened the first 3 gates. The man in the hood vanished from sight, reappearing a split second later, spinning in midair, preparing to deliver a kick to Guy's chest. The taijutsu specialist blocked the attack and grabbed him by the leg, spinning and hurling him towards Asuma, who was standing ready with his blades raised. He swung at his incoming target, but missed as his opponent twisted his body, avoiding the wind-infused blade, and crashed into him. Both men hit the ground, but Asuma got the worst of it. The hooded man landed on top of him, driving a shoulder into his chest and rolling off into a backflip. As he did so, he unleashed a handful of shuriken at Kakashi and Guy, who both deflected them with their weapons. No sooner than he landed, the man vanished from sight, appearing behind Guy, and delivering a drop kick to his back. He used his momentum to spring off towards Kakashi. The Sharingan user blocked the kick and grabbed his opponent's ankle, then returned fire with a punch, only to find his fist caught. Asuma, who had recovered, was charging towards them. I'm coming, Kakashi. Came on, OPN. Guy shouted. Back on the sidelines, everyone watching was surprised that the mystery man was holding up so well against the village's top 4 Jounin. This guy's pretty good, Chuji noted. The only other person who could fight the 4 of them like that is Sasuke. He doesn't seem to be having any trouble at all, Niji said. You're right, Hinata agreed. She couldn't believe it was the man of her dreams out there. She could feel her heart racing faster than it ever had. She couldn't wait for a chance to speak with him again. Suddenly there was an explosion, and a cloud of dust swept over the area. Holy shit! What was that? Kiba asked. I think it was Asuma-sensei's Hazakisho, ash pile burning, Shikamaru said. You're right, Ino agreed. I'd recognize it anywhere. But what happened in there is the question, Shino stated. I think you guys might be in for a surprise, Niji said. As the smoke and dust cleared, numerous gasps could be heard from the crowd. Eyes widened as they noticed the man in the hood was standing over Guy with his foot on his chest, while Asuma and Kakashi were struggling to get up. I think we're done here, the man in the hood stated. Considering you all have a war at hand, it wouldn't be good to have 4 of your village's top shinobi in unsuitable combat condition. Tsunade's mouth was hanging open slightly in shock. She didn't expect him to be as good as he was and make such quick work of Kakashi and the others. Very well, Sasuke, you're up, the busted blonde said. Well, looks like I'll get my turn after all, Sasuke said, jumping down from the tree. You cannot beat me, the man said. You would do well to watch your mouth, Sasuke warned. I don't take kindly to insults. I understand the truth may hurt, but that doesn't mean you should take to it as an insult. How about you show your face? Look me in the eye and say it? Very well then. The man slowly pulled his hood back, revealing spiky blonde hair with sideburns that extended down to about his chin. He had piercing blue, slit eyes, and thick whisker marks on his face. Due to his grin, it was seen that he had elongated canines which were more like fangs. Everybody, with the exception of those who already knew, stared in shock. Uzumaki Naruto had returned to Konoha. Hello everybody, Naruto said. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. There was whispering among the shinobi present. Is that the Yondaime? It couldn't be. He's come back to save us. Their beliefs were proved wrong before long. So, the Dobe returns. I was beginning to think you were dead, Sasuke said. I don't know what could have given you that idea, Naruto said. So you came back here after killing Itachi, I see. I'm surprised. Why is that? After you ran away with that snake pedophile, I thought you had ended up a sex slave for life. That guy did freak me out a little. Some of the members from the Rookie Nine couldn't help but snicker a little at that remark, while most of the female population seemed outraged. Well, I think I know what my plans are for the night, Enko said. Crater robber, Asuma said. What? He's old enough. Sasuke's expression darkened. I see you still keep your foot in your mouth, Dobe. Whatever Yuke. Sasuke turned to Tsunade. You don't mind if we go all out, do you? Naruto, is this fine with you? The Godame asked. Not a problem, old lady. I haven't had a good fight in a while. Okay, Sasuke, it seems he doesn't care. The Uchiha walked over to the tree and picked up Kusanagi, which he had placed there during his short bout with Kakashi. Very well, it will be his funeral. The blonde made his way over to the black-haired girl with Konohamaru's squad. She handed him his sword. Go stand over by Konohamaru, Naruto said in a voice only she could hear. I'll try not to be too long. Okay, Naruto. Bro. It's really you? Konohamaru asked excitedly. Yup, it's me. The blonde responded. And I got a whole bunch of new tricks too. Awesome. You totally gotta teach me some new killer moves. I will sometime during my stay, no worries. Quit wasting time, Dobe, Sasuke said. Or are you starting to get scared? Hold this for me, Naruto said, removing his black robe and handing it to the girl. Everybody examined him. He sported black sandals instead of the blue ones he was known for wearing when he was younger. He wore what used to be full-length pants. They had been torn and stopped just below his knees, resembling shorts, and were black as well. He had his right leg bandaged from the knee and down. Instead of the traditional fingerless gloves most shinobi wore, he had his knuckles bandaged. His entire left arm was bandaged, as well as his upper body from his chest up to his neck. The bandages extended to his right shoulder and down to his elbow. His right arm from about the middle of his forearm and down was bandaged. The tips and ends of numerous scars could be seen extending past some of the bandages. There were also other smaller ones across his midsection. His right hand had rope, a half-inch in diameter, wrapped around it in similar fashion to how one would wrap bandages. On his left hand he wore a black fingerless glove with a red steel plate across the fist. Around his waist was a 3-stranded sash consisting of 2 black strands and 1 red. The strands were tied together on his right, hanging freely. Also hanging from his waist, held up by the sash, were the remains of an old red robe. It hung more to the left, partly concealing his left leg. Hanging across his back, upside down, from left to right, was a shikamazu. It was close in design to that of a katana. There were a few differences. One difference was that although the blade length was the same, it was straight instead of curved like the traditional katana. The second difference was that there was no crossguard present. The third and final difference was that the hilt was a cylindrical shape. It was round instead of the normal design that was more rectangular. Jiraiya, he looks like he's been doing work as a mercenary, Tsunade said with a small hint of worry. Yes, but don't worry, he hasn't worked for any village or country in opposition to Konoha. The Toad Sage was careful to allow his words to reach only her ears. When did he start using a sword? He picked it up during training with me. I had nothing to do with his kenjutsu training though, Jiraiya admitted. How did he learn? He ran into the Kawakami clan 2 years after he finished training with me, came the reply. He learned their traditional style, Shiranuryu. That's an old style. I thought it had been forgotten. Depending on how Naruto chooses to go about this battle, Things might prove to be very interesting. Just watch for now. Ino looked at the black-haired woman who had accompanied Naruto to the area. Hey guys, who do you think that is? The other Rookie 9 members examined her. In addition to being black, her hair was long, extending halfway down her back. She was about 5 feet 7 inches, about 3 inches shorter than Naruto. She had what would be considered good muscle tone. Although this was true, her body was filled in very well. Her legs appeared muscular, her hips were well-rounded, and she had a bust which was size obviously bigger than average. As everyone watched her move over to the sidelines to join the group, it was evident that she had an air of confidence about her. Hey, Yumi-san, over here, Moegi called, motioning her over to where she, Konohamaru, and Udon were gathered. The woman smiled. Hello Moegi-chan, how are you guys doing? We're good. Yeah, Konohamaru agreed. It's gonna be awesome watching bro kick Sasuke's ass. I guess that's one way of putting it, Yumi said with a slight chuckle at the boy's enthusiasm. She eyed the Uchiha who was heading towards her fiancé. So that's him. Sasuke strapped Kusanagi to his back as he proceeded to the center of the training ground to join Naruto. Upon reaching his desired position, he spoke. I hope you plan on taking this seriously, or your death here is certain. Naruto simply grinned before replying, well, I hope you plan on fighting as well as you make threats. Back on the sidelines, the present spectators could feel the bad blood between the two brewing. Members of the Rookie 9 knew all too well that if the battle escalated too much that there was no telling which direction it could go in. Do you think they will try to kill each other, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked her former teacher. I know they can't stand each other, but the tension must have died down a little at least over the last few years. Well, Sakura, the silver-haired Jonin began. I honestly do not know what to tell you. Come on, Kakashi, Anko cut in. Those two? I've heard of the missions your squad went through as genin. From what I understand, they understood each other like a married couple. While that may be true, Anko, the copy started. Their relationship is better defined by a saying I once heard. If you know your enemy as you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. What's that mean? Kiba asked. What it means, Shikamaru cut in, is those two basically knew each other so well that in case there ever came a point where they would have to fight, it would be to settle the dispute over which was stronger. I couldn't have said it better myself, Shikamaru, Kakashi complimented. You see, they worked together, but they were always trying to outdo each other. During the Chunin exams they wanted to fight but didn't get the opportunity. Also before Sasuke's defection, they almost destroyed each other, and Sakura, who was in the wrong place at the wrong time, fighting on the hospital roof. Fortunately I intervened. You think they'll try to kill each other, or will they stop after they realize the battle is pretty much over? Niji asked. Well, I guess we will just have to watch and find out because it seems they're about to begin. Guy informed. Everyone stared intently, and both Niji and Hinata activated their Byakugan. Naruto and Sasuke, standing about 10 yards from each other, stared intently into each other's eyes. Sasuke was busy formulating a plan. I'll try and make this quick and save the dobe the embarrassment. No need to make him look bad his first day back. Not that he would prove to be that much of a challenge in the first place. Sasuke unsheathed Kusanagi as Naruto did likewise with his sword, still keeping eye contact. Just focus now. Kasegui no Jutsu. Sasuke's Sharingan immediately activated and he lunged forwards. Within a moment the gap was closed and Sasuke swung his sword at Naruto, who was standing still with a look of shock on his face. As the blade was about to connect with Naruto's side, a voice shouted, Bunshin Bakuho. An explosion followed, kicking up dust in the area. Sasuke, who managed to shun Shin away at the last moment, was watching intently for any sign of his opponent. Feeling a presence behind him, he spun around to block an incoming blade with his sword. Both fighters leapt back out of the dust cloud, creating distance between them. As they landed, they stood there watching each other closely, calculating their next moves. On the sidelines, few were able to follow what had just transpired. That much action already and they're just warming up. This is going to be interesting, Niji said with a slight smile. This is the perfect time for Naruto-san to show his newfound youthfulness, Rock Lee said. Everyone looked at him and sweat dropped at his remark. Jiraiya, I know some do it, Tsunade started, but is there a reason Naruto chose the unorthodox reverse grip, as opposed to a normal one on his sword? Well, Jiraiya said. The Shiraniryu style is speed-based. Quick parrying, which can be easily changed to a counter-attack, is important. So is being able to strike quickly and from unexpected angles. That still doesn't explain where the reverse grip comes in, Ino noted. I'm getting there, Jiraiya informed. Naruto felt the need to make it adapt to himself. To give you a better understanding, asked this. Have you ever known him to be orthodox in anything? Everyone thought it over and realized that the number one most unpredictable shinobi did well to live up to his claim. Well, I guess that is true. He said during his fight with Kiba that he does his best work with a handicap, Shikamaru said. To be honest, every time that he has fought at a disadvantage he has come out on top. What does that have to do with anything? Chuji asked. Jiraiya continued his explanation. A reverse grip gives the user a disadvantage with attacks from above. And when it comes to backhand attacks to a certain extent. But coming from below or from the side, attacks are stronger. Defensively, it is easier to parry attacks due to being able to move the blade easier. Being caught in a power struggle isn't common. Users are trained to be able to avoid it. If it happens, holding the sword with the hands side by side with both fists facing forward rather than the normal two-handed grip is recommended. Makes sense, Ino said, nodding. Hey, it looks like they're about to attack again, Kurenai said, drawing attention to the two fighters. Naruto formed a single seal with his left hand, which was free. Sasuke noticed the wind-based chakra form around the blade of Naruto's sword. Wind manipulation, huh? Unfortunately for him, I can see it with the Sharingan. Sasuke decided to try and even up the playing field. Kusanagi no Tsurugi. Kusanagi's blade became covered in lightning. He raised the sword, pointing it at Naruto. Chidori Aisu! Naruto was caught off guard, having never seen a jutsu such as this. He narrowly dodged the spear of lightning headed towards him, but not before it grazed his shoulder. He vanished from sight, appearing horizontally above Sasuke. He brought his sword up and spun rapidly as he came down. Sasuke leapt backwards, gathering chakra in the form of electricity to his hands. Naruto landed, causing the ground to crack, creating a small crater just big enough for him to sit in. He then began forming hand seals. Shito Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, he said, hurling his sword, which was accompanied by a large amount of replicas at Sasuke. The Uchiha, seeing multiple blades flying his way, gathered electrical chakra to his hand, and launched an attack of his own. Chidori Senban. Sasuke thrust his hand forward, sending multiple lightning Senban at his nemesis. The needles destroyed the shadow clones of Naruto's sword, and Sasuke leaned to the side, dodging the real one as he flew past him. Naruto grinned. What do you have to smile about, Dobe? Sasuke inquired. This, Naruto said, forming a single seal. Surinrepa. Sasuke spun around just in time to see Naruto's sword come flying back towards him. He jumped to the side. He turned towards Naruto to see the sword coming at him again, and knocked it to the side with Kusanagi, only to have it hurl back towards him once more. He dodged and turned around in time to be kicked in the chest, and then attacked from his sides and back by more kicks, sending him airborne. Knowing what would follow after he prepared his counter. Chidori Nagashi. Sasuke unleashed his jutsu, creating a protective field of lightning around his body. Bolts flared out from it, some hitting the clones below and dispersing them. The Naruto coming from above dispersed in a cloud of smoke as well upon making contact, and the Uchiha landed safely. Naruto looked at Sasuke. He's better than I expected him to be. I wonder what other tricks he has. His sword had made its way back to his hand, and he prepared it for another jutsu. Kazakiri no Jutsu, Naruto said, swinging his sword at his opponent, and sending a large wind blade towards him. The blade hit, causing a large rubble-filled cloud of dirt to rise. Sasuke suddenly appeared in front of Naruto, aiming a side kick his way. Naruto spun out of the way with a backhand aimed for Sasuke's face. The Uchiha grabbed his aggressor's wrist, yanking him forwards and sending a knee into his stomach, and followed up with a roundhouse, sending the blonde-haired shinobi flying backwards. Naruto stabbed his sword into the ground to prevent his collision with the tree he was closing in on. Immediately he hit the ground, he darted towards the Sharingan user. The shinobi present were watching intently as Naruto recovered from the blows. They look evenly matched, Yamato noted. With Sasuke in line to be the sixth, I am not surprised, Anko said. Not only that, but Naruto doesn't know that Sasuke has the Manjikyu, Yamato informed. Well, Niji spoke up. Naruto somehow always finds a way to come out on top no matter what skills he or his opponent may have. Do you think Naruto-kun will win Niji? Hinata asked. I am unsure. I do not know right now, the Hyuga prodigy admitted. But his chakra levels are surprising. They're tremendously low for the jutsu he's been using. His chakra is different though. I haven't seen anything like this before. Do you see it, Hinata? This caused a few heads to turn, and murmurs of disbelief here and there. Yes, Niji, it is indeed different, the younger Hyuga agreed. I think Naruto will win, the woman now known as Yumi said. Do you know what you are saying? Sakura said. Sasuke-kun is next in line to be the Hokage. I don't care. He is weak, Naruto will win. Some people turned around gaping at her in shock. Most people who knew Sakura knew that the number one taboo that could be committed in her presence was to insult Sasuke in any way, shape, or form. Do you want to repeat that? Sakura asked. If you heard me the first time, there's no reason to waste my breath, Yumi said, not even turning to look at her. If you want proof that I am right, then just keep watching. I like her Akamaru, Kiba said to his dog, who voiced his approval with a bark. I do too, Chuji said. Anybody who can diss Sasuke like that and not care is cool in my book. How troublesome, Shikamaru mentally groaned. Now for weeks all we will hear is how Sakura wants to beat that chick's ass for insulting her Sasuke. Troublesome, just troublesome. There, Sakura, deep breaths, don't pay any attention to her, Ino said, trying to calm her friend down as they turned their attention back to the fight. Naruto and Sasuke met with a clash. Sasuke caught Naruto's right fist, which had the Shikamaru gripped firmly. Naruto held Sasuke's wrist, preventing the Sharingan user from bringing Kusanagi down upon him. Naruto kicked at Sasuke only to have it blocked by his shin, and be met with a strong headbutt. Naruto stumbled back and was almost hit by an incoming slash from Sasuke's blade. He parried, rolling to his left, and aiming for Sasuke's head with a back elbow which was ducked under. Naruto, whose sword was now about level with his opponent's head, quickly performed a single-handed seal, extending the wind chakra around the blade towards Sasuke, who rolled to the side avoiding it. Both shinobi spun around to face each other, and wasted no time with a follow-up. Their fists collided, canceling each other's blows out and releasing a slight shockwave. Jiraiya, Tsunade said, thinking about Niji's mention of different chakra. She then proceeded in a low voice only for him to hear. Did you teach him senjutsu? Yes, Naruto is now a sage, and unlike me, he is able to achieve a complete sage mode, the Sennin replied. But then wouldn't his eyes resemble that of a toad? Tsunade pondered. Yes, but during training as the seal weakened, he ended up having a chat with a part of my former apprentice. You mean? Yes, Jiraiya said. His father sealed a part of himself away with the Kyuubi as a safeguard in the event that the seal were to weaken too much. How does that affect his eyes? When he reached 8 tails after losing control on a mission we went on, the sage began. Minato appeared to him and explained everything to him, as well as revealing to him the location of the scroll explaining his 2 most popular jutsu. After that he reinforced the seal in a way which allowed for Naruto to use his tenant's chakra in conjunction with sage mode to have the effect of the Ryosei no jutsu. This would eliminate his need to fuse with Shima and Fukasaku, as I need to, and his need to use shadow clones as an alternative to it. So you mean he can continuously gather sage chakra on his own and he knows the Hiraishin no jutsu? Tsunade asked with her shock evident. Yes, that exactly, Jiraiya said grinning. Wait, the scroll was hidden here in the village, that means. Correct. He has been back here a few times over the past 7 years. Their attention was turned back to the battle upon hearing the loud ring of clashing steel. They looked on to witness Naruto and Sasuke in a struggle for power, as their blades pressed together. Naruto removed his left hand from the handle of his sword, using the pressure being applied from Sasuke's to overpower his sword and sending the bottom of the hilt into Sasuke's throat. He stomped on the Uchiha's foot, following up with a knee to the stomach. He then shoved Sasuke to the side, creating space, and proceeded with a spinning back kick which was stopped as the Sharingan wielder grabbed his ankle. Sasuke then kicked his opponent's other leg out from under him, causing him to fall to the ground, and brought his sword above his head with both hands and stabbed down, striking home in the center of Naruto's chest. Naruto changed into a log and Sasuke spun around, swinging at the real one, who closed in from behind. Naruto ducked and rolled to the side only to have lightning-infused shards of wood fly at him as the log exploded due to a Chidori Nagashi sent through the sword's blade. He quickly twirled his sword, deflecting the debris and avoiding harm. Sasuke, hoping to catch his foe off guard, completed the seals he was already forming. Bakuhatsu and Shato. Sasuke extended his empty hand, firing blasts of fire towards Naruto, causing the blonde shinobi to revert to evasive maneuvers. Damn, if I keep having to run I'll end up tiring, Naruto thought while doing what he could to avoid each incoming ball of fire that headed towards him. Sasuke then fired a large barrage at his target, leaving the blonde no option but to leap into the air. He immediately formed a quick string of hand seals. Karyudan! Naruto's eyes widened as a large fire dragon shot into the sky and prepared to come down on top of him. There's no way he can dodge that, Chuji said as the jutsu closed in on Naruto. He better figure out something quick or he's toast, Asuma said, joking partly. Naruto-kun, Hinata thought. Naruto, if you don't figure out a way to dodge that no ramen for 3 days. The blonde's fiancé yelled from the sidelines. I'm not joking this time. The members of the Rookie Nine, and those familiar with Naruto's love for the broth-soaked succulent noodles, stared at her. Trying to keep the number 1 hyperactive ninja from ramen was unheard of. It must have made Naruto feel threatened because he obliged to her command. Naruto formed a single seal in front of his face and attempted a defensive technique, Dorihiki. As he neared the ground, a large wall of earth erupted from the ground. It withstood the impact of the fire dragon for only a moment before crumbling. That was all the time the Jinchuriki needed to escape. Seems you improved a little, Sasuke said, not showing any emotion. Same could be said about you, but you still won't beat me, Naruto countered. I plan to end this soon though. How do you intend to do that, team? Naruto asked as he created a few shadow clones. With this, Sasuke's eyes changed, now resembling a 6-pointed atom model. Naruto began forming seals but lost concentration upon noticing Sasuke's eyes, which had changed. What's those shit? Naruto realized too late what was happening and couldn't divert his gaze from Sasuke soon enough to avoid what followed. Inside the genjutsu, Naruto was struggled to free himself from the shackles he was in. One of those clones better do something to get me out of here. If one of them would hurry and use the blasted Kai release, for crying out loud. Back in the real world, the Bunshins were doing what they could to keep Sasuke busy from completing his genjutsu. Eventually he lost focus and the genjutsu he had cast was broken. Naruto looked around and stood a little disoriented from the genjutsu. He finally recovered enough to see numerous clones closing in on his opponent. Bunshin Bakuha. The explosion engulfed Sasuke. He stood and resheathed his sword, turning his back and heading back to the crowd. That was awesome, bro! Konohamaru shouted. You kicked his ass. I know, huh? So much for him being the next Hokage, Naruto joked. Looks like the council's gonna have to meet on finding a new successor for ya. It's not over yet, Niji said. Huh? Seeing what Niji meant, Hinata shouted. Naruto-kun, behind you. Naruto whirled around just in time to see an overly large spectral arrow headed his way. The arrow pierced through Naruto, carrying his body through the air and impaling a tree. Naruto's body simply hung there, lifeless. What the hell is that? Konohamaru yelled. Spectators redirected their focus from Naruto to the direction the young Chunin was staring, while others continued staring at the limp body on the tree speechless. Sasuke emerged from the clearing dust surrounded by a large spectral figure. On its left forearm was a bow doubling as a shield. In the right hand was an arrow. You lose, Dobe, Sasuke said. A rumble began coming from the ground. The crowd looked on confused as to what was taking place. What's going on? A shinobi asked. His question was answered as a large amount of shadow clones erupted from the ground surrounding Sasuke on all sides. Each wielded swirling blue spheres of chakra in both hands. Unbelievable, Niji began, unable to finish his thought. That Churka, Taiju Kage Bunshin, Raisin Rengen Rendan. The shadow clones all charged Sasuke with unbelievable speed. Upon impact there was a tremendous explosion, tearing up the terrain and knocking over nearby trees as well as sending a fair amount of the spectators to the ground. Niji, Hinata, can either of you see what just happened? Naruto-kun broke through Susanoo. What? Sakura couldn't believe it. That's possible? The dust cleared and Sasuke and Naruto could be seen in a power struggle with their swords locked. Give up, Dobe, the Uchiha said. Rot in hell, you bastard. The whiskered man shot back. He sidestepped and pulled his sword back, causing Sasuke to fall forwards off balance. He brought his sword down upon the back of the Uchiha's neck, but was surprised to find his sword connect with a log. He spun around, swinging his fist with all that he had, and put his entire weight behind it. A loud thud was heard as it collided with flesh. Sasuke crashed to the ground and kicked Naruto's legs out from under him. He sprang back up to his feet and leapt up into the air while forming a series of hand seals. Katon, Goka Mekyaku. Great fire annihilation. A large wall of flame soared towards Naruto, who was recovering. The dust had cleared and nobody could believe what was before them. Naruto was standing over Sasuke with both his sword and Kusanagi pinning Sasuke to the ground through both his shoulders. Looks like you lose, Naruto said, pulling his sword from the unconscious Uchiha's shoulder, putting it back in the sheath. Team. He turned around and proceeded back towards where the others were standing. Hell yeah, bro, you kicked his ass. Konohamaru exclaimed, pumping his fist in the air. Sakura and a few others ran towards Sasuke's position to tend to his wounds. I guess that's one way of putting it, Naruto said, grinning. So how'd I do, Granny? Tsunade probably would have broken his jaw if it weren't for her astonishment. I guess that means you improved vastly. You can begin taking missions anytime you're ready. I want payment for those jobs in addition to the amount I requested earlier. Naruto, that decision has to be voted on by the. Either that or I can leave. I know other people who would pay more. The only reason I am here is because it was requested. Everyone was stunned. The blonde before them wasn't the same carefree, goofy shinobi they remembered him as. We can meet with them and discuss it tomorrow, Tsunade said. Thank you, Yumi, let's go. Naruto said, taking his robe from her and putting it back on. Okay, Naruto, the woman said. Goodbye, everyone. She then turned around and followed Naruto as he walked off. Damn, looks like we should hope the mighty Uchiha doesn't piss off Naruto, or else Konoha is done for, Kiba said, laughing slightly. Well, in that case I'd probably just leave. Kiba! Don't joke like that. Ino scolded. I have to say I can't disagree. Heads turned toward Shikamaru. I mean, it doesn't seem like we've been living up to what the village should be. I mean, there isn't the same sense of unity from when the third was still alive. That is true, Chuji agreed, backing his best friend. But we can't say what will happen this early. Yeah, oh well. It's too troublesome to bother with right now. I'm going home to sleep, and it's getting dark soon. Knowing my mother, she'll probably nag me for being out. Shikamaru stood and stretched before heading off. Guess I'm going to leave too, Chuji said, heading off. Gai-sensei, I must continue to train as Naruto-san did and become stronger. Lee said. Yes, my student. We will start with 200 laps around the village. The bushy-browed man exclaimed, and the two were off. I will never get over how weird those two can be, Kiba said, hopping on his dog's back. Let's go home, Akamaru. Many of the spectators had already begun leaving the training grounds. Only a few were left, among them being Niji, Hinata, the former cell leaders of the Rookie Nine, and Jiraiya and Tsunade, who was helping Sakura with Sasuke's wounds. I take it you two saw what happened, Kakashi said, looking at two Byakugan users. Yes, and I must once again say that Naruto surprised me, using Dacho Aigyo to hide underground, Niji said with a small grin. He will forever be the most unpredictable shinobi. Jiraiya-san, Hinata began. What was that weird chakra Naruto-kun used against Sasuke? Sage chakra, the white-haired man said. What exactly is it? Niji asked. Well, Jiraiya said. It is like chakra, but different. You see, you must gather energy from nature. After a sufficient amount has been gathered, one is able to achieve what is known as Sage Mode. While in Sage Mode, all abilities increase dramatically, taijutsu, ninjutsu, and genjutsu. And physical damage to the user is almost ineffective. That is all I will tell you. I don't want to give away all of his secrets. Jiraiya then vanished in a cloud of smoke. Well, Hinata, I guess we better head back to the compound. Okay, Niji-san. The two vanished as well. Meanwhile, Tsunade and Sakura had just finished dealing with Sasuke's injuries. Well, Sakura, Tsunade began. That should do it. He should probably try not to use his arms too much for 2 days, otherwise it might end up taking longer for him to heal. Knowing him, he wouldn't settle for it, Sakura said, frowning slightly. I know, which is why you should keep a close eye on him. Also, I won't be allowing him to take missions for a few days. I'll tell him when he wakes up. I'll help you get him back home. A little later in at the Hokage's guest home, Naruto had just emerged from the restroom after finishing his shower. He looked at his soon-to-be wife, who was already asleep on the bed. He created a Tsukage Bunshin to stand watch over the house. Due to the fact that he couldn't gather sage chakra while sleeping, he had shadow clones perform the task for him during the night. As the 2 clones exited the room, he climbed it next to his fiancée and put his hands behind his head, staring up at the ceiling. He thought back to when he first met her. Never in his life at that point did he ever think they would end up together. Before he knew it, his eyes closed, and he drifted to sleep. Flashback/dream. 5 years ago, Awagakure, Hidden Rock Village. Congratulations, Naruto. Your training is carrying along wonderfully. In about a year you will know everything I have to teach you. Thanks, Ero-senin, the young blonde said. When are we going to go on more missions? Well, I think you are good enough to choose which missions you can or can't take on. So I will be leaving you for a few weeks. Still tracking Akatsuki's movements? Yes, I'm afraid so. Okay, well, I guess I'll be seeing you around then. Be careful, Naruto, Jiraiya said, vanishing in a cloud of smoke. What to do? Naruto's mind wandered to a samurai civilization which took refuge in the mountains to the north of Awagakure. The Kawakami family founded it. To be more exact, one could look at it as a village composed mostly of swordsmen, as well as many shinobi specializing in kenjutsu and genjutsu. Walking through the streets, it was rare to see anyone without a sword, with the exception of children in the Kenjutsu Academy who carried bakken. It was about half the size of what a normal village would be in terms of population. Even so, if it came to war, they could beat most other villages with little or no casualties. Those who lived trained in the ancient sword style of the Kawakami family, Shiranryu. When he had visited with Jiraiya a few months ago, Kawakami Hiryu had given him a shikamasu, which was basically a straight edge rather than normally curved bladed katana mostly used by shinobi. The one he received had a black handle with a cylindrical shape, and there was no crossguard. I guess I can use this time to go back and finish the training. With that, he was off. In the forest close to the base of the mountains, Naruto was running through the forest, quickly approaching the mountains when he heard a scream. What the hell? He skidded to a halt and turned in the direction of the screaming. He immediately sped off to help whoever it was who needed it. After a few minutes, he came to what appeared to be a small mercenary camp. There was a group of men who stood in a circle, and in the middle was a woman with red hair, holding a younger girl who had black hair. It seemed she was protecting the younger girl who was unconscious. There were tears in her eyes. Haven't you had enough? The woman cried. Please let her go. Why would we do that? One of the mercenaries asked. If we let her go, that means less variety. Not only that, but she's fresh, another said. And we've been through you enough times already. Damn, this doesn't look good, Naruto thought. 2378. Okay, this shouldn't be too hard. Need to surprise him though. He touched the middle and ring fingers on his hands to both palms, sliding them back upwards, activating the seals and causing shuriken to appear in both hands. Enough of this. Let's just fuck them both. I agree, I'm tired of waiting. The men began closing in on the 2 females. 2 shuriken flew by, hitting home between the eyes of 2 of them, who staggered back and fell dead. The others turned the direction the shuriken came from, only to see a lone shinobi of about 15 standing there. Okay kid, this isn't the place for you to be, so unless you want to die, run off somewhere. 2 more shuriken came from behind, striking 2 more in the back of the head and killing them. The 4 remaining mercenaries drew their weapons. Unless you want to die, you should run along and leave those 2 alone, Naruto warned. Enough of this. One mercenary charged the blonde, who made no attempt to move, and was run through by the sword. The body then burst into a cloud of smoke. I'm not telling you again. The mercenary looked up in time to be stabbed through the eye and pinned to the ground as Naruto landed on top of him. He then yanked the kunai out and lodged it in the screaming mercenary's mouth, piercing his throat. Who's next? Naruto was answered as the remaining 3 charged him. He put up a fight before 2 sandwiched him and dismembered him, cutting through his neck and waist. He disappeared in a cloud of smoke once more. Watch out for the real one. What the hell? Oh shit! The 3rd mercenary turned around just in time to see his 2 comrades yanked into the ground, buried to their necks. Come out and fight, you little piece of... Before he finished his sentence, he was silenced as their blonde assailant emerged from the ground and shoved a sword up his ass, killing him. The shinobi then burst into a cloud of smoke. The real Naruto leapt down from the tree, landing on the skull of one of the ground-encased mercenaries. He then turned to the other and kicked him in the head, snapping his neck, ending his life. Please don't hurt us, we have no mon. I don't want your money, Naruto said. Are you 2 okay? Yes, sir. What is your name? I am Uzumaki Naruto. And you? Masaki Kaoru, the red-haired woman answered. And her? Is she your daughter? Naruto asked. No, but she is the closest thing I have to one, the woman said. Her name is Yumi. How did you 2 come across each other? Were slaves. Her mother was killed when she was still a baby and I took her as my own. I did not know what her mother named her, so I called her Yumi. I see, Naruto said. Does she know? Yes, I managed to keep her mother's things, and among them was a picture of both of them along with a man whom I guess is her father. There was writing on the back, but unfortunately it had become smudged and unreadable before she could read. I see, so how did you end up with these guys? We were slaves, sold to mercenaries, businessmen, anyone who would pay enough. I see, the blonde shinobi said. Must have been tough. It was, we were forced to. She stopped before finishing her sentence. Her body shook slightly from her quiet sobs. Naruto didn't know what to do. He could talk to girls, but when they were crying it was a whole different story. I am sorry to hear that, he said as his gaze shifted to the ground. Do you have any belongings? Only a few, Keira said. They are all in my bag. Naruto then got an idea. He pulled out a writing pad. Hey, do you two have a home? No, you can come with me. I am actually on my way to see some old friends and I'm sure that they would be more than happy to help. He then performed a quick set of hand seals. Kuchiyos no Jutsu, a larger than normal toad sporting a vest appeared. Yo, what's up? Hey Gamakichi, I need a favor from you. Naruto said, handing him a letter. Take this up the mountain to the Kawakami family. I need them to know I'm bringing some friends. No problem, see you later. With that the toad was off. Okay, you two can come with me, Naruto said. Keiru was about to pick up the unconscious girl in her arms. No, don't worry, I'll carry her. Thank you, the woman said as Naruto lifted Yumi onto his back. Let's go. A few hours later, at the southern gates to the Kawakami compound, two swordsmen, twins in fact, stood watch. One wore a red hakama with a black obi around his waist. He wore a red sleeveless robe and had his sword across his back. In the distance he could see people closing in from the distance. Hey Ryoji, there's some people headed this way, he said. Master Hiryu said to expect Naruto-san and a few others. It might be them, the other answered. They're too far out to tell. You stay here, Akira. I'll inform Master Hiryu at once. Naruto, Keiru, and Yumi, who was still unconscious on Naruto's back, were getting closer to the gates when a voice called out, Hey Naruto-san. Naruto looked up. He recognized the white-haired swordsman who was about his age. He sported red-colored samurai pauldron on his left shoulder and a set of vambraces on his forearms. He wore a red robe with only his right arm in the sleeve, allowing the left side to hang freely. His upper body was covered in a mesh tank top. Akira, long time no see. Master Hiryu informed us that you would be arriving. He noticed the red-haired woman and the unconscious girl on Naruto's back. Who are they? This is Keiru-san, and her daughter Yumi, Naruto said. Do you think Master Hiryu has a place for them to stay? I am not sure, but we can see him and ask. Follow me, Naruto-san, Keiru said. Are you sure this will be okay? Don't worry, Master Hiryu is one of the kindest people I know, Naruto said. And his wife Kazue loves to take care of people. Hurry up, Master Hiryu will be getting ready for training soon, Akira said. Naruto and Keiru followed after him. At the Kawakami family mansion, a man in a hooded robe stood in the study room. Usually family members and those who were practitioners of the Shiranryu sword style wore either a black, red, or white robe, which was either hooded or not as personal preference of the wearer. Each color signified a certain rank. White robes were worn by those who were of novice rank. Also direct family members sported a robe with a dragon on the back, while those not related had the kanji, sky/heavenly/god/celestial/day, on the back. Those who wore a red robe were considered advanced. The black robes were worn by those who had mastered the style. In addition to being black, this man's robe differed from the others. All over the robe were red dragons outlined in gold. Of all the Kawakami family members, he was the only one to wear this robe, which signified that of all in the family he was the most skilled. His hair was long and black, tied off in a ponytail reaching the middle of his back. His eyes were red, with the iris and pupil lined with gold. He had a stern look on his face, and although he didn't appear old, by looking upon his face one could see that he had been through a lifetime of experiences. He was a tall man standing slightly above 6 feet. In addition to his height, he was muscular, giving him a menacing look. He had a katana at his waist on his left side. Across the back of his waist was a wakizashi with the handle on the left. On his feet he wore white flat-bottomed sandals and black socks. Under the robe he wore a pair of white hakama pants and a white sleeveless gi, with fishnet underneath. Around his neck was a chain with a medallion consisting of a white ring with a black dragon in it. Master Hiryu, a voice addressed the man. The man turned around to face his visitor. Yes, Akira, what is it? Naruto-san has arrived with his guests, the young boy answered. Good. Send them in. Akira stepped out of the room and was back within a few moments with Naruto, Keiru, and a still unconscious Yumi. Naruto was first to speak. Master Hiryu, it's been a while. I had no idea you were so close. I was not expecting your arrival for a few days, Hiryu answered. He turned to Akira. Thank you, Akira, you may leave now. Find Takashi and Ryo. Tell them to take shift at the gates. Yes, master, the boy said, bowing. Also, Ryoji has gone back. Ask them to tell him take the rest of the day off. Yes, master, he bowed once more. On his way out he turned to Naruto. I'd like to have a rematch with you when you get the chance. Sure thing, Naruto said, grinning. I'm looking forward to it. Akira exited, closing the door. Hiryu then addressed the blonde-haired shinobi. So what brings you here, Naruto? Well, Ero-sennin had to leave on business and I was in Iwagakure, Naruto began. So I decided to visit and complete my training if it's not too much trouble. Trouble? Never, you're welcome here anytime, Hiryu said. Who are your friends? This is Kaoru-san, Naruto said, motioning to the red-haired woman at his side. And this is Yumi, friends from back home? No, they were slaves, Naruto said, looking down. But I rescued them on my way here. I'm sorry to trouble you with this, master, but make no mention of it. Naruto looked up to see the Kawakami leader smiling. I'll have a place prepared for them to live. My wife will show them to their new home. Where is Kazue-san? I didn't see her when I came in. She is in the entertainment district, most likely playing shogi with her friends. Okay, well, I'll stop by to say hello to her, Naruto said. Akira told me you were getting ready to train, you wouldn't mind. Of course not, we can begin as soon as you are ready, Hiryu said. Awesome. Naruto placed the unconscious Yumi on a couch. He brushed her hair out of her face and looked at her for a short moment before heading for the door. Should I tell Kazue-san to come back here? Yes, please. Tell her to be here as soon as she can, and I will meet you at the dojo in an hour. No problem, Naruto said, disappearing out the door. End flashback/dream. Naruto's eyes snapped open and he sat up. He looked at the clock next to the bed. It was almost noon. Guess I'll just get started with my training. Naruto noticed Yumi enter the room in her training gear. I see you're finally up, Naruto, Yumi said. Wanna spar? It's been a while. Sure, I'll be out in a moment. After a few minutes they were both outside. As Naruto stepped out, he noticed Kaoru sitting in a chair on the front deck. Hello, cousin, are you watching? Why not? Does that surprise you? The red-haired woman asked. Well, I just never thought you were the type for violence is all. Oh no, don't mind me, just go on about your training normally. Try not to kill each other though. I know you two can be rather competitive at times. Haha, no need to worry, cousin, I'll hold back. I was more worried about you, to be honest, Kaoru said, causing the blonde to stare at her blankly. Oh, I was talking to myself. I think, don't worry about it, just have fun. Naruto, stop wasting time. I have a new technique to try out. Naruto looked at Yumi, who was twirling a katana in her hand. Oh, be patient, you're always demanding something, the blonde shinobi said, pulling out his sword. I'm a woman in need of certain things. I can't help it, Yumi countered. Women and their needs I'll never understand, because we're complex. Are you ready? Of course. The couple charged each other. Naruto thought back to when she first began learning to use a sword. It had been the first time he had a conversation with her. It also resulted in their first argument and kiss. Flashback. Mura no Zie Hiryu, village of the Flying Dragon. It had been 2 months since Naruto arrived at the village with Kaoru and Yumi. He felt good, having mastered the first of one of the Shiraniryu style's 3 strongest techniques, Sonic Kabumu, Sonic Boom. Unlike most air blades which an opponent was safe from after avoiding, this one differed. The Sonic Kabumu required channeling wind chakra to the blade, manipulating the air in front of it to eliminate any form of possible resistance when performing a swing. This allowed for the sword to travel at a speed fast enough to create a tremendous shockwave to follow after. The first version occurs if the sword happens to be blocked. The chakra on the sword is released, hitting the opponent. In addition, if used with a tremendous amount of chakra, it allowed for the user's sword to cut cleanly through the opponent's. The opponent would then be hit with the wind blade and the sword. The final part of the attack was the shockwave that followed, which could send most opponents flying back a good distance. The second version required the user to perform the attack from afar as if using the Kazakiri no Jutsu. The blade of wind would travel as normal, but depending on the strength of the attack, the interval between the arrival of the initial blade and the shockwave varied. The most basic form of the attack would have the shockwave follow almost immediately after. The strongest version would have a shockwave that would cover a larger area and have a delay of no more than 2 seconds. Due to the fact that the shockwave was wind and not chakra, it was undetectable. Naruto decided he was ready to try learning the Kawakami family's second technique. I think I'm ready for the next move. Sorry, Naruto, it will have to be another time. However, I have another training assignment for you, Hiryu said, putting away his weapons. What's that? Yumi has been training with Kazue and Akira. I want to see how she matches up against you. She has come a long way since she started. She also seems to have the same talent for quick learning that I see in you. But sensei, do not worry about it. It will just be 2 short days. Your training with me will commence once again the day after. Alright, Naruto said in defeat. He put his shikamaza back in the sheath at his waist, then sat down on a nearby bench and waited. Before too long, Yumi appeared. He looked at her. Having been focused on training, he hadn't really taken time to see her. Occasionally he would speak with Kaoru, but when he did, Yumi was sleeping, wandering the village streets, or off training. He took time to examine her. She had fiery orange eyes with bright red pupils, black hair reaching her shoulders, and she was only a little shorter than he was. Not only that, but he noticed that for her age she also had a matured body. Naruto was entranced by her movements as she approached him. Before his mind wandered too far, her calm voice brought him back to reality. I never got the chance to say thank you, she said. Oh, don't worry about it, Naruto said with his trademark grin. Thank you again. She stood there patiently looking at him. What? Hiraya-sama said that we are training together. You can train, I can watch. I don't think that's what he had in mind. Well, I can't say that I had this in mind either, Naruto said. I don't see how training with you will benefit me in any way, shape, or form. You're scared of girls, Yumi said. Naruto's eye twitched. What? I know you heard me, unless you're as much of a dumbass as you're acting right now. Who are you calling a dumbass, you weird-eyed bitch? Who are you calling a bitch? You. Acting all ungrateful and all after I saved your ass. Fuck you. The girl pulled out her sword and attacked. Naruto quickly moved out of the way. The unlucky bench ended up in shards. His eyes slightly widened, seeing a groove in the ground caused by her blade. Before he knew it, she was above him. He quickly grabbed his sword in a reverse grip, yanking it from the sheath in a backhanded motion, the blade horizontal. Communiques no cape, divine wall of wind. The blades collided and a wave of wind was released, sending Yumi backwards. She backflipped and as soon as her feet touched the ground, launched towards Naruto, who was stunned by her speed. The girl got down low, preparing for an upward slash. Hananakan! Flame sword. As Yumi came up, the blade of her katana erupted in flames. Naruto kicked her forearm, knocking her arm back and sending her off balance and falling forwards. The blonde shinobi brought his knee into her face and followed up with a punch to the back of her head, sending her to the ground face first. Yumi quickly grabbed her sword and sprang up to her feet. Bastard. No need to get mad about the whole thing, you star. Naruto was cut off before he could finish as a large ball of fire headed his way. Maybe I can blow it out. He backflipped, rotating to his left, gained momentum for his swing. He landed, performing a slash. Sonic Kabuma. The blade of wind cut through the fire. A second later, the shockwave followed, blowing out the fire. Naruto noticed Yumi and disappeared. He turned around in time to lean back and avoid her sword. The black-haired girl lost her balance due to the momentum of her swing and fell forwards, knocking Naruto, who was leaning back, onto the ground and landing on him. Naruto propped himself up on his shoulders to try and sit up. Just at that moment, Yumi turned to face him. If you hadn't, both stared at each other, shocked. Naruto pushed away. What was that for? What do you mean? You kissed me. Get off me. Naruto pushed her off, crawling away and spitting. I don't understand washing out your mouth for saying bad words, but with all the names you've called me today, I see why. You bastard. Yumi asked, anger evident in her eyes. It's your fault. And flashback. Naruto smiled at the memory, but Yumi's next attack caught his attention. Hano no Rikudo. Flame of 6 paths. She stabbed her sword into the ground, closing her left eye. I wonder what's she doing? Naruto felt the ground beneath him rumbling and leapt into the air. Looking down, he saw a jet of fire coming up after him. He then noticed balls of fire quickly closing in on him from the front, back, and sides. Rikudo's 6 paths, that's 5. That means... The blonde shifted his body, spinning to the side and diving to the ground. Naruto looked behind him to see another jet of fire coming down from the sky. The jets collided with the fireballs, creating an explosion. Yumi emerged from the blast with her blade ignited in flames. Hano Sonic Kabuma, Naruto countered. Sonic Kabuma. His wind blade cut through Yumi's flame, and the two shockwaves collided, causing a large cloud of smoke and dust to rise. Naruto looked at his fiancée's eyes. They were still the same orange, except now the scara turned red like her pupil, and just like the pupil was glowing. She just had to be as fiery as her Kekkei. Flashback. Mura no Zie Hiryu. 2 years ago. It had been 2 years since Naruto completed his training with Jiraiya and learned to use senjutsu. During the past 3 years, he had learned a lot from the old sage. He had been back with the Kawakami family for 2 of the 3 years. Naruto had also been learning various techniques of the Shiraniryu style. A few weeks ago, he had perfected the first technique, as well as the second. Currently, he was learning the third and final technique of the style. He had also earned the right to don the black hood. During the time, he had grown closer to Yumi and her mother, Kaoru. He had also let go of the feelings he had for Sakura and allowed Yumi to get closer to him. Through his training with Yumi, and watching her, he noticed that any time she used a fire jutsu, she never used seals. It also seemed that she could control it in any way she wished. It reminded him of Amaterasu in a way. Having just finished his training for the day, and with nothing planned, the blonde shinobi decided to find Yumi and ask her about it. He went by the house that Hiraya had provided for the girl and her mother. He found Kaoru engaged in her usual activity of reading out on the front deck of the house. Hey Kaoru-san, is Yumi here? No, I'm afraid not, Naruto, the red-headed woman admitted. She did say something about doing research or studying. You might want to try Hiraya-sama's library. Thank you, the blonde said, heading towards the mansion. After a few minutes he had arrived and headed straight for the study. He looked inside to see Yumi standing at a table with scrolls and open books scattered across it. He knocked on the door frame. I'm not interrupting, am I? Shocked, the black-haired girl looked up. Naruto, she said, smiling. How are you? Did training go okay? It did, I'm exhausted, came the reply. Yumi, I had a question for you though, if you don't mind answering. What is it, Naruto? Well, I've noticed that when you use Katanju, Teiyugen, HN? Naruto blinked, obviously confused. The sun eye, she said. It is my Kekkei. I found out from Hiraya-sama. Huh? How did he know? All the books in his library are on ninjutsu, genjutsu, taijutsu, kenjutsu, any type, even kenjutsu. The girl explained. He also has a collection on Kekkei-genkai, and each book tells of known strengths and weaknesses of them. Wow, really? Yes, his ancestors kept record of any and all jutsu and Kekkei-genkai they encountered in battle and any strategy formed to use against it. I guess I'd better study more often, Naruto said. Yep. So what does yours do? It allows me to use the energy from the sun to use Katan jutsu. It is stronger during days than at nights, of course. What about at nights? Can you even use it at all? Yes, and it enables me to see as if it were day. Also, since the moon uses the sun's light, it is more effective when used during a full moon than crescent or new moon. I see. What else can it do? Well, Yumi said, looking at the book in front of her. I can control fire, its shape, intensity, and size. The exception being if it is from the jutsu of another, in which case I can only use one of my eye's defenses. Which is? Naruto asked intently. Being able to protect myself from most of the jutsu by covering myself with Katan chakra in the way a Hyuga does with regular chakra to perform Katen. Oh, then what? As I spin, I am able to absorb the chakra into my eyes for an attack, which is helpful. Naruto thought for a second. How helpful? It takes a little time to gather chakra from the sun's energy for an attack, much like regular chakra for any jutsu. So with this, I can unleash an attack instantly without having to focus first. It would be instantaneous, like blinking. Well, remind me not to get on your bad side. Since you taught me the Kage Bunshin, I have more than enough ways to keep you in line, Yumi said, smiling. That's why I like you so much. You're as dangerous as I am. Yumi stared at him blankly. What? Dangerous? You. What's so hard to believe about that? Do I have to remind you? Naruto stopped and remembered what she was talking about. There was a time when a large spider, as he claimed, attacked him in the shower, and he ran out screaming, Spider! Yumi yelled, pointing. Seeing Naruto was off in thought, Naruto jumped and spun around, creating a Rasengan. Seeing there was no spider, he pouted. That's not very nice. Aw, is poor Whittle Naruto enough weight of a Whittle spider? Hey, you never know. They could be poisonous. Or I could be allergic. Yumi began laughing and Naruto stormed out of the room. And flashback. Naruto smiled again at his memory. As Yumi came down from above, he caught her wrist as she landed. Twirling her around so her back was to him, he pulled her close. I think that's enough for now. Yeah, I agree, Yumi said. I was going easy on you anyway. Sure, well, let's go take a shower. The girl leaned to the side and looked back at him. A grin was on her face. Naruto grinned back at her. I think that's a good idea. As they reached the door, Kaoru's voice stopped them. You two behave in there and don't be too loud. The two looked at her, blushing. I want grandchildren, but would rather not have to remember the sounds put into making them whenever I hold one of them. The two hurried into the house, obviously embarrassed, and closed the door quickly behind them. Young people, Kaoru thought as she looked back to her book, grinning. A/N. Well, that shows a little bit about Yumi and Kaoru. There will be more, but that will be in later chapters. Okay, the rest of this note is kinda lengthy, but it should clear some stuff up for some people about the last chapter. In the last chapter, when Niji and Hinata saw irregular chakra patterns, I was referring to the sage chakra Naruto was gathering. I am not sure if the Byakugan can see that, since in the manga during the fight with Pain, when Naruto gathered sage chakra to overload the Pain that absorbed chakra, it didn't say anything about it, so I'm not sure, but I assume it can. As for his eyes having a slit instead of the normal toad eyes, I got that from when he was stabbed by Nagato's chakra disruption blade. When he was in sage mode, you could see that his whisker marks became more defined, like when he calls on Kyuubi's chakra, and that his eyes, while still looking like a toad, still had a slit from in them, creating a cross with the horizontal rectangular shape in his eyes. I decided to just keep his normal eye color, and have his eyes with a slit like Kyuubi's. Anyway, at that point Jiraiya only said that Naruto can gather sage chakra continuously. He doesn't have to stand still to do it. So he can stay in sage mode for extended periods of time. I wrote that before finding out about how Kabuto is able to do so due to Orochimaru's genes/experiments, or whatever he discovered after learning from the Great White Snake. Being able to hide underground with the Dachu Aigyo, the technique the Rain Genin used to hide and attack from the shadows of their clones in the Forest of Death. Sasuke couldn't see him since the Sharingan can't see through solid objects as the Byakugan, and because when fighting Sasuke in the manga and using clones, it is apparent Sasuke can't tell which the real one is. And Sage Mode allows chakra sensory, so Naruto can tell where Sasuke is from underground, and the main clone that Naruto used he was controlling with the technique. I don't know if it was named in the manga, but if you remember when they were rescuing Gaara and fought Itachi and Kisame, but it turned out to be bodies just being controlled by them. If anybody knows the name of the technique, let me know. It was in chapter 260 in the manga. Also about the fireball crumbling the earth wall. Look at page 4 in chapter 260 and you see that Itachi's Gakkaku no Jutsu, Grand Fireball, tears up the ground in front of it. But oh well, feel free to criticize it, but take it up with Kishimoto, not me. I didn't draw it. As for him defeating Susanoo, I combined a theory I had with something Kishimoto said in an interview. My theory is that since Susanoo defends the user, it serves as the ultimate defense because it focuses on defending one point, which is where the user is located, so I had Naruto attack from all directions with the attack more focused on Susanoo than on Sasuke. Looking at Susanoo as an individual, no individual with only a shield can defend all parts of their body, and with Kishimoto saying in an interview that Sasuke's new powers can't match against Naruto's, so that's why Susanoo was defeated. As for people saying there is no council, I have to disagree. Yes, the Hokage has that old man and woman as advisors, not council members, I know that. But if you remember in the manga when Shikamaru's father was told there was to be a council meeting shortly after Naruto defeated Pain, and they met in order to determine the next Hokage, and then the decision came to naming Danzo the Hokage, it leads me to believe that there is a council. Well, it shows that there is a council. They had a council meeting. A lot of things in my story like jutsu and such, I tried to keep consistent with things I have seen in the manga, and I also tried to not make the jutsu and attacks too far-fetched. I'm also using theories I came up with based on what I've seen in the manga, and some things mentioned in interviews with Kishimoto. Naruto's sword style Shiraniryu is a real sword style made famous in an assassin in the 1800s named Kawakami Gensai, but other than its main principle of speed, nothing is known about it. So using its basis of speed and precision, I will incorporate some techniques from the manga and make up a few for Naruto. Naruto and Yumi walked Konoha's streets, each observing villagers engaged in their daily activities. Naruto was taking in the changes that occurred while he was gone, and Yumi was looking all around for any clothing shops she could find. Naruto, Yumi said. I think we need to do a little shopping. I took you just before we came here, the Jinchuriki shinobi said. I promise I'll take you as soon as I get paid for the first mission I go on. I don't want to stay here in the village, Yumi said. I want to fight and go on missions with you, but those council people are going to let us. How do you know? I'm going to tell them to. That has more of a chance of getting us in trouble. I like trouble. It makes things more interesting, the girl said. Plus, you used to be a little troublemaker yourself. I know that troublemaker is still in there somewhere. Sire, Naruto said as they continued towards the Hokage tower. Well, you better tell them, or else I will, and I won't be polite. Okay, no need to get all worked up now. As they reached the tower, they were met by two ANBU, one in a boar mask, the other wearing a rooster mask. I assume you're here to meet with Tsunade-sama? The one wearing the boar mask questioned. Yeah, I suppose so, Naruto responded. Tell her to hurry up if she's busy so we can get this meeting over with. Oh, she is already on her way to the council room. Thanks. Naruto and Yumi Shunshined from sight. Whoa, hold on. She can use Shunshin? Ino asked surprised. Niji, did you? I saw Ino, Niji said. I knew she had a chakra level well above average, but I didn't think she had received any training. Should we tell Tsunade-sama? Well, I think it would be best, Niji said before speaking into his radio. In the meeting room, Naruto and Yumi entered the room sitting at the end of the table opposite where Tsunade would sit. On the right of Tsunade's seat sat Mitokado Hamura, and on the left was Udatain Koharu. Along the left after Koharu sat Jiraiya, Naro Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, and Aburame Shibi. On the right after Hamura were Shimura Danzu, Hyuga Hayashi, Akimichi Chuza, and Inuzuka Tsum. Tsunade entered and took her seat at the head of the table. She then noticed Yumi sitting next to Naruto. She was about to question why, but Shizen entered. She walked over and handed the blonde woman a note, then exited the room. The Hokage looked at Yumi. Naruto, why? Anything you need to say to me can be said in front of her, the young man stated. No need to censor yourselves either. His tone had a hint of malice to it. Very well, Tsunade said. As you all know, Naruto is here because of the request for aid during this war. Yes, and have his skills and abilities been properly evaluated? Hayashi asked. Yes, Tsunade said. He fought Sasuke instead by my choosing. And how did he fare? He gave that Uchiha an ass-kicking, Jiraiya said. He received a glare from Tsunade letting him know that it wasn't the time or place for jokes. It would seem that the demon fox's chakra has provided exponential increases to his strength, Danza said. Wrong, he beat Sasuke without aid from Kyuubi. Impossible, Hayashi scoffed. It is true, Shikaka said. My son Shikamaru was there. He informed me. Naruto also defeated Pain when he attacked Konoha without the aid of Kyuubi, Inoichi said. That's true, Shikaka said, backing him up. How is it he was able to do so? Danza asked. Look who trained him, Jiraiya said. Wow, seems like he's really come a long way, Tsum remarked. Well then there's no reason why his aid wouldn't be beneficial, Shibi said. I can't believe this, Hayashi said in disbelief. Well you better believe it, you old bastard, Naruto said. Watch your mouth when you speak to me, boy. Fuck off. Naruto! Tsunade yelled. Behave. You're not his mother. Eyes turned to Yumi who had just spoken. Girl, you should be more respectful when speaking to the Hokage, Hamura said. I'm not under your command. Silence, damn it. Tsunade shouted. I agree, hurry up and get to the point so I can find out how much money you're giving me, Naruto said in a bored tone. Hokage-sama, Koharu began. Have you decided on an amount yet? No, but I have, Naruto answered. 100 million. That's outrageous. Hamura exclaimed. That's not all. I also want payment for any mission you send me on during the time that I am here. It seems somebody's greedy, Tsum noted. Maybe, Naruto said. Also, if anybody is to go on a mission with me, Yumi will be present as well, and will receive proper payment as well. Everybody present looked at each other shocked, with the exception of Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Danza, who seemed as though nothing fazed him. This is preposterous, Hamura said. We cannot stand for this. Not only that, but we know nothing about this girl, Hayashi said. She's my fiancée, that's enough for you to know, Naruto declared. I can vouch for her abilities, she's skilled. Jiraiya said. That's all I'll tell you. If you want to know anything else, it's up to her. He then stood from his seat. Jiraiya, this meeting isn't over, Tsunade said. I know, but you already know what my decision on the matter will be, the white-haired Sannin said. And you know I get bored just sitting here. There are better things to do. We all know what those better things are, the blonde Kage thought. Naruto, let's go, Yumi said. There are other places that would pay more from what you told me. That's true, Naruto said. I don't even know why you agreed to come help this shithole of a village. If that is the case, we have no choice, Danza said. Have you lost your mind? Hayashi said, turning to him. If he decides to work with someone else in opposition of Konoha, then it is not likely that things will go well for us. True. Well, if there is nothing else to debate, it is time to voice your opinions, Tsunade said. All in favor of hiring Uzumaki Naruto and carrying out his terms of service, raise your right hand. The Godame was shocked to see that everybody raised their hands. Well, if that concludes our meeting here, then we shall be on our way, Naruto said, standing. Come on, Yumi. Naruto, your first mission will be in 3 days, Tsunade informed. What is it? It is a rather lengthy mission. Oh yeah? Yes, it might take anywhere from 3 weeks to a little over a month to complete. Sounds interesting. Will it be fun? Fun? Yeah, Naruto said. Will I get to kill anyone, cut off an enemy's arm and beat them with it, etc., etc.? You must understand, Kohara said. Konoha is not known for violence. The Jinchuriki said, putting a hand to his chin in mock thought. My childhood here seems to say otherwise. Well, according to my father's intentions. What are you talking about? Kohara said. Your parents were Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, the Yandame Hokage. The people in the council room stared in shock. You're not supposed to. Naruto cut Kohara off before she finished. Shut up, you old bitch. How do you know this? Hamura asked. It doesn't matter, I know, and that's it. Answer the question, you runt. A Rasengan flared up in Naruto's hand. Shut the damn hole in your face before I decide to fill it with this. Naruto, calm down, and everybody shut the hell up. Tsunade screamed. Naruto, your mission will take you to Kumogakyo first. I want your team to deliver a letter to the Raikage. He will be expecting you. I also want you to see if you can gather any intel concerning their plans. What's the letter say? It is a treaty proposal. I see, the blonde said. Where else do we need to go? From there I will have a boat prepared for you and your team, which will take you to Iwagakure. The Kawakami family's village is hard to get to. Even if you manage to reach the village, gaining entrance is near impossible, unless they know you. I take it that's where I come in. Yes, when you arrive I want you to see if there's any chance that they might take our side. Maybe, but they're neutral. Taking our side would put their family and village in danger, Naruto said. I doubt they would fight a battle that doesn't concern them. I understand this, but we need all the help we can get, Tsunade said. Whatever, is that all? No. Finally, I need you to stop in Kirigakure and find out what their plans are, if they are in need of any support, and so on. I know that Amigakure and Iwagakure have been attacking them and that Sunagakure has been trying to help any way possible. I also want you to provide any support that you're able to. Fine, that works with me. Naruto put an arm around his fiancée and turned to leave. Just one more thing. Who's leading the group? You will find out when you meet. In 2 days at noon at the northwestern gates. Alright. Naruto and Yumi both left. How does he know of his heritage? Hamura asked, displeasure evident. Who's to say? Inoichi said. Anybody has a right to know where they came from. There is no reason he should have been lied to. Knowing of his family, and knowing that we knew and still treated him the way we, despite that, he probably resents the village more than ever, Shikaku said. If he is a threat to the Konoha, then necessary precautions must be taken to ensure the village's safety, Danza stated. Until further notice, no action will be taken without my approval, Tsunade said. The council members all got up and left one by one, leaving Tsunade still seated in the room thinking to herself what she would do if Naruto turned against Konoha. I hope that time never comes. If it does, I hope I am no longer the Hokage. Konoha Hospital. Sakura was in a hospital room with Sasuke, who was more than ready to get out. He had just finished putting on his black shirt when Sakura spoke. Sasuke-kun, Tsunade-sama said you shouldn't try to use your arms too much for 2 days. I'll manage, the Uchiha responded. We have a mission in 2 days, and if there's any fighting involved, which Tsunade-sama said there might be, you won't be at your best. Sasuke paused for a moment, apparently thinking. He then looked at her. You're a medic, Nin, so anything that's still wrong you can fix now, and I can take medicine. But Sasuke-kun, I can't just sit around doing nothing when that dope is up and about, most likely improving his skills. Sakura sighed. Fine, lay down, thank you. Sasuke lay on the hospital bed thinking to himself. I will not let that fool to be stronger than me. In the forest of death, Naruto and Yumi were up high in a large tree on one of its branches. Naruto was lying down, and Yumi was seated at his side. Naruto, how much longer? The girl asked. Takashi will be here soon, the blonde said calmly. Ugh, Naruto chuckled. What are you laughing about? You're always so impatient. You get frustrated too easily. I'll show you frustrated. Her eyes began glowing. You two calm down. The couple turned to see a silver-haired man standing on a branch to the side and slightly higher than theirs. He had black boots. He wore dark blue camouflage pants and a dark blue long-sleeved shirt. Over the shirt he wore a white Jonin vest. Takashi! Yumi exclaimed. We were starting to think you got lost. It took you long enough. Yumi said. What do you mean we? Naruto asked. You were the one complaining. Shut up. Geez, you two aren't even married yet. Calm down, the silver-haired shinobi said, hopping onto the branch with them. But you both know why I'm here. Naruto stood and walked towards Takashi. Indeed, let's discuss business. Village outskirts. Danza-sama, we received your message. A blonde-haired man along with a masked man with dark hair knelt side by side before Konoha's warhawk. Torune, Danza began. I have a special assignment, a task that cannot be failed. Yes sir, what is it? The dark-haired shinobi asked. You and Fu are to watch over Uzumaki and make sure that he does not stray too far from the village unwatched, unless he's on mission. If he is on mission, you two are to follow undetected and watch his actions. If he proves to be a threat, should we apprehend him? Fu asked. Do not engage in combat with him until the full extent of his abilities has been determined. Also, if it comes down to that, make sure that he does not escape. He must be exterminated. Yes sir, Torian said. That is all, you are dismissed, Danza said. The two root members Shunshined from sight and Danza began heading calmly back towards the main part of the village. Forest of Death. Hiryu-sensei will support whatever decision you make, brother. But the main issue is how you feel about your choice and how it will affect you, Takashi said. I know this, and I have been thinking long and hard on this the past few years, Naruto said. Well, Yumi began. If we do decide to attack, it should be no problem. Why is that? Takashi inquired. Gara-san is like a brother to Naruto as well. I see, Takashi said. He thought for a moment. Mura no Hiryu is at least half the size in terms of population. Not only that, but every person in that village knows Jiraiya. That is true. There are shinobi from all over the ninja world residing there, with missing Nin making up a large part of the population. Because of that, the village has access to jutsu of every type, Naruto stated. The people in that village are also fast and well advanced in genjutsu as well. Most everyone there can use single-handed seals or none at all in order to perform jutsu. Yes, so with the aid of Suna, if this mission takes place, it should prove to be a simple matter for us to complete it, Yumi said. Well, I will meet with you guys later. Where did you say your assignment from Konoha would be directing you? Takashi asked. We're heading to Kumo first, to deliver a treaty proposal and gather intel. Next, the Hokage wants me to visit Hiryu-sensei to see if he will side with Konoha for the war. We will also have to head to Kirigakure, Miss Village, to aid them in defense. Your plan would require them to stay neutral though, would it not? Yes, so we will have to figure out a way around that. Naruto, you could just say that you already know Hiryu-sama wouldn't agree to it, Yumi said. I'll think of something, the blonde said. When do you leave? Takashi asked. In 3 days. I will meet you in Kumo. Of course, take care. The two men shook hands. Be safe, Takashi, Yumi said, giving him a hug. No problem. Send Katsumi our greetings as well, Naruto said. I'll be sure to do so. See you in a week. Takashi then vanished. Come on. No doubt somebody will be trying to watch us, Naruto said. He and Yumi then vanished from sight. 3 days later, Sasuke, Sakura, Shikamaru, Ino, Kiba, and Hinata were gathered under a tree shortly outside of the village gates. They patiently waited for the rest of their party to arrive. I understand he's being paid, but this is ridiculous. We were supposed to leave a half hour ago. Ino, must you always complain? It's so troublesome. Shikamaru, you bastard, the blonde-haired woman began. If you call me true, shut up, let's go. The group turned to see Naruto dressed in his normal attire of black bandages and shorts. He walked past everybody, followed by Yumi, who was close behind him. She was dressed in Jonin attire, and had a katana strapped to her back. Guess that would mean it's time to head out, Kiba said as he stood. Not so fast, Dobe, Sasuke said. What be? Yumi smacked Naruto, causing him to look down at her. He sighed. What is it? There are a few rules we need to lay down before we head out. What might those rules be? First and foremost, I am the commander for this mission. How joyous, big whoop. What's next? Be out with it. 2. While under my command, I expect you to show the proper respect, and abstain from deviating from any plan developed, or any order I issue without consulting me first. 3rd, and finally, we will not engage in any combat unless it is absolutely necessary in order to keep our tracks covered. Okay, now let's go already, damn it. Naruto, be patient, Yumi said quietly so only he could hear. We will not have what is considered a standard formation as of yet, but I want us to travel spread out. We should be far enough away from each other that we can still have at least 2 others within our range of sight but still be close enough to provide any necessary support. Okay, is that it? One more thing, the Uchiha said. Hinata will be in the middle in order to provide the best support with her Byakugan. Okay, I think we all agree that would be enough rules, Naruto said. No kidding, Kiba agreed. Let's move out, Sasuke ordered. He vanished from sight, and the others followed suit. Later that evening, Sasuke-kun, are we planning on stopping? Sakura asked. I'm not sure. If we don't stop, no doubt our exhausted appearances would draw more attention than necessary to us once we arrive, Shikamaru said. So it would be best for us to find a place close to the village, but not close enough that any of Kumo's patrolling shinobi would see us. That or we can just find a place to stop now and go the rest of the way tomorrow, Naruto said. Well, let's do it like this. We can just take a vote, Sasuke said, jumping down to the ground. The others followed suit, and they gathered in a small clearing. So, who wants to stop and set up camp here? I think it would be best, Hinata said. Shikamaru and Naruto-kun are right. I think we should stop. Me too, Kiba said. I guess Shikamaru and Naruto have already voiced their opinions, so one more vote is needed. Well, if Naruto is stopping, so am I, Yumi said. It's settled. Kiba, I need you and Hinata to gather wood for fire. Alright, Kiba said, heading off into the woods followed by Akamaru and Shikamaru. Naruto, you, Yumi and Hinata should go set up traps just in case, the Uchiha instructed. What are you gonna be doing? Naruto asked. Ino, Sakura and I will set up our shelter. Sounds good to me, the Jinchuriki said. I'll go ahead and see if I can find us something to eat too. Before long, Shikamaru and Kiba had retrieved a sufficient amount of wood to last the night, and had 3 fires going. Sasuke, Ino and Sakura were busy setting up huts and had one of the intended 2 set up. Naruto, Yumi, and Hinata finished setting up traps and were trying to find something for dinner. So what do you two feel like? Naruto said. Deer or fish? I haven't had a nice steak in a while. Yumi said. I guess that is okay with me too, Naruto-kun. Hinata said. Okay, good, because I see a deer right over there, and I don't feel like getting wet. Oh, so how are you going to get? Before Yumi finished, Naruto dashed towards the deer and punched it in the head, knocking it clean off. The head hit a tree, lodging one of the antlers into the trunk, and hanging there. Naruto, what? Why? I didn't want my sword to get dirty. Yumi looked at Hinata and both women sighed and shook their heads. Hey, don't just stand there, come help me get this thing. Both women looked at Naruto to find that the deer's stomach was cut open and he was busily poking and scraping at it with a stick. I don't know how I put up with him, Yumi said as she and Hinata headed towards the blonde. Hinata simply chuckled. Before long the deer had been cleaned and taken back to the campsite. Ino and Sakura took care of cooking the meat. After it was done, they also took on the task of serving everyone. While everyone was eating, Sasuke stood and headed off towards a hut, motioning Sakura to follow him. Naruto was the first to speak after the 2 disappeared into the makeshift shelter. Wow, what? Kiba asked. You didn't just see that? When did he start liking girls? Naruto asked. They've been together for a while now, Ino said. Seriously? She fixed him? She got him to quit talking it in the ass? Sasuke was never gay. He was just unsure about his feelings and kept to himself. You mean he was in the closet? Oh well. Naruto took a big bite out of his piece of meat. Damn, I did myself good. Hey, show a little gratitude, I cooked it. I don't care, I killed it. You didn't just kill it, Hinata began. Naruto-kun, you, hey, nobody needs to know, okay? The Jinchuriki said. How else was I supposed to do it? Judging from the conversation, Shikamaru started. It's obviously some way other than how you did it this time. What do you know about hunting? Enough to know it's too troublesome to bother with, and that I should leave it to others. You lazy bastard. Thank you for the encouragement. In the hut, Sakura, I need you to do something, Sasuke said. What is it, Sasuke? The pink-haired woman asked. Naruto's friend. His fiancé? What about her? I want you to fiancé? Yeah, that's what Hokage-sama said. Okay, well, watch her, make sure she's not any trouble. The Hokage seemed to be worried about her for some reason. Okay, no problem. Good. Sakura then kissed him softly before they exited the makeshift shelter. As they did, they noticed Yumi had disappeared from the group. Sakura looked at Sasuke, who nodded. She then went off in search of Naruto's black-haired mistress. Hey look, somebody got off early. Careful now, we still have a mission to finish, Naruto said. Don't need our leader working too hard, or he might not be able to keep up. Shut up, Dobe, the Uchiha said. What? If you two keep this up, you might not be able to finish. I'm not just talking about the mission either. You two stop, Ino said. We don't need you two killing each other before we actually get anything accomplished on this mission. I agree with Ino-san, Hinata said. And if Sasuke-san died, the village might not be too happy. I wouldn't mind, Kiba said. Everyone turned to him. What? Come on, I know I'm not the only one thinking that. Kiba-kun, you shouldn't say things like that. I'm sorry, but I can't lie about something I feel so strongly about. This is going to be a long mission. Shikamaru thought to himself unhappily. Somewhere in the forest, Yumi was standing by the lake admiring the stars when she felt a presence behind her. Turning her head slightly, she noted that it was Sakura who had followed her. What do you want? To talk, she replied. I have nothing to say to you, Yumi said, turning to face her. And cut the act, I'm not naive. I know that you wouldn't try talking to me unless you were trying to find out something. Seems you're smart after all, Sakura said. And if you're smart, you'll do your best not to aggravate me. Is that a threat? More like a guarantee, the fiery-eyed woman stated. I don't threaten people. I just provide healthy alternatives. Really? If you need proof, I'd be more than willing to provide some hard evidence that my bad side isn't a place you want to be on. Well, it seems like I'm already there, and it doesn't really appear all that bad. This is your only warning, Yumi said, walking past the pink-haired kunoichi. It would be in your best interest to avoid starting this conversation again. It won't end in a happy resolution for you. Sakura watched Yumi as she headed back to the camp. Her task was going to prove more difficult than she thought. She would just have to figure out a way to make it happen. She headed back to the camp to find that Sasuke and the other girls had already gone to bed. Shikamaru, Kiba, and Naruto were still up by the fire talking. She went to the hut the girls were in to go to bed. The next day, everybody was busy getting rid of any sign they had been there. Hinata noticed Naruto kneeling on the ground with a scroll spread out before him. Naruto-kun, what are you doing? The Hyuga asked. I'm sealing away the rest of the deer. You never know, we might have to stop again. What happens if it goes bad? Then I'll use it as a distraction sometime if I happen to end up in a situation where I'm being tracked. Oh, Hinata sighed. It seemed some things about Naruto would never change. The group headed out as soon as their tracks had been covered well enough. Before long they would arrive in the Cloud Village. Around noon, the group finally arrived in Kumogakure, and was looking for a place to stay. They finally found an inn and got 4 rooms. They posed as couples and entered at different times in order to avoid too much suspicion. Kiba and Hinata shared a room, then Shikamaru and Ino, Sasuke and Sakura, and finally Naruto and Yumi. After getting settled they met outside the hotel. Sasuke spoke. Okay, everybody, we will meet with the Raikage tomorrow. 4 of us will meet with him while the other 4 move around and try to gather any information possible. For now we will all look. Remove your forehead protectors, and anything that links us to the leaf. Also we will need to split up. Sounds good, Kiba said. Okay. Come on Yumi, Naruto said turning around. I have selected the groups, Sasuke stated. Naruto halted. So he wants to keep an eye on us, Naruto thought to himself. He looked down at Yumi who looked back up at him in understanding. The groups for now will be Sakura, Yumi, Shikamaru and Kiba, then Naruto, Hinata, Ino and me. Alright, let's move out, and don't do anything to draw attention to you, Sasuke said as the groups departed. Yumi, may I ask a question? Sakura began. What is it? The black-haired woman asked. How did you meet Naruto? My mother and I ran into him near Iwagakure years ago. I see, the pink-haired kunoichi said. So what style of kenjutsu do you know? Is it the same as Naruto's? I think you're asking too many questions. I guess now we know why Naruto's so serious now, Kiba said with a slight smirk. Oh, he's not as serious as he appears sometimes, Yumi said smiling. But I know how to keep him in check. So what all has Naruto told you of Konoha? Shikamaru inquired. And what has he told you of himself? What do you mean? Yumi said looking at him. He's told you everything? There are no secrets. Yumi looked at him questionably and Shikamaru nodded. Yes, I know. It doesn't matter to me. It's not something to get worked up about. I see. That's good to hear, the shadow user said with a rare smile. What are you two talking about? Sakura asked. Oh, nothing, besides it would be troublesome to explain. Sakura mentally sighed in defeat. Getting information on Naruto or Yumi would prove a difficult task. The group continued on blending with the crowd and listening. With Naruto's group, as the group moved through the village, Naruto seemed to hang back a little. Hey dope, quit wasting time and get a move on it. Yeah, I'm coming, Naruto said. Unbeknownst to his companions, Naruto had created a Kage Bunshin to follow them and had slipped into the crowd. Naruto moved through the village quickly yet calmly. He eventually reached the outskirts, and came to a small dirt path. He followed the path until he reached what appeared to be a small shrine. He felt a presence behind him. I was beginning to wonder if he would show up at all. I would have been here sooner, if it weren't for the fact that I had to travel with that team. Naruto turned to face his visitor. Where's Yumi? Unfortunately she won't be able to make it. So, Naruto, what is it you wanted to discuss? Well, Takashi, I have an idea. What might that be? I really don't feel like stopping at Hiraya-sensei's just yet. I don't want Konoha to know their village's location. I see, so you want me to visit Hiraya-sensei on your behalf? Exactly, if you don't mind I would appreciate it. Nothing to worry about, I can do it. Thanks, Naruto said heading back towards the village. Be careful, Takashi warned. I have intelligence stating that the Raikage has issued warning to attack any enemy means on sight. That makes our mission here more difficult. Yes, so be on guard. I also found that they have assembled a small militia that will be moving towards Konoha in 2 weeks. Damn. Well, you see Hiraya-sensei. I have to get back and tell my team, and we need to head to the Kiri ASAP. That's not all. What do you mean? Iwagakure and Amigakure will be attacking as well, and Amigakure is looking to let up on attacking the Kiri in order to do so. Also, I'm not sure on where Mifune and the Iron Samurai stand or if they're even neutral anymore to begin with. So far there isn't anything to be worried about concerning them. Well, we're stopping in the mist to speak to the Mizukage. We shouldn't have a problem convincing her to join our side, Naruto explained. How bad do you think it will be? From what I understand, Takashi started. They plan to send somewhere from 1 to 200 shinobi each. So it won't be a large-scale attack, just enough to catch Konoha off guard and do a little damage before retreating. So they don't plan on making this a big battle. Nope, so it should be no problem. That's a relief. 600 shinobi should be no problem. Since I'm close to mastering my father's techniques, things should go smoothly. I agree. Oh, and one more thing, the silver-haired man said as he tossed his friend a scroll. What is it? Naruto asked, opening it. Take a look. I see y'all are moving, huh? Actually already in the process. Already? Yeah, the whole village. Everything. Wind country, I see, the blonde said, amused. Yeah. My uncle thought it best since Gaara would be close by and he wouldn't mind aiding us in the least bit if needed. True, but what will you do about your current location? A mask needs no genjutsu? False reality, you guessed it, the Kawakami clan member confirmed. You got the area down? Yeah, well then you already know what to do. Always, Naruto said as he performed a single seal, causing the scroll to combust in a plume of white flames. Well, thanks for the info, the former Konoha Shinbai said. I should get going before they discover they're traveling with a clone. Alright, I'll meet you in Konoha when it's time, Takashi said. See ya. As Takashi shunned Tsunade away, Naruto turned back towards the path and began walking. He paused for a moment and looked around. He then shrugged and continued back to the village. In the shadows, two figures vanished from sight. In the village, Naruto tracked his clone and was following from the rooftops. He shunned Tsunade from his position into a nearby alley. As the Sasuke, Ino, and Hinata passed, he stepped out behind them as his clone walked into the alleyway and dispersed. He decided to speak. How much longer are we going to be doing this? We will be heading back to the inn soon, Sasuke said. So we're basically done looking? Yes, it does not seem like we will be finding out anything tonight. We will investigate more during the meeting with the Raikage. Well, if you don't mind, I'm heading back to the inn. Suit yourself. Naruto turned and left. A few hours later, everyone had finished eating, showering, and getting ready for bed. Sasuke was doing handstand push-ups, and Sakura was sitting in the bed. Sasuke spoke to her. Did you find out anything about her? I'm afraid not, Sakura admitted. She's secretive. I can tell she doesn't trust us. I see, Sasuke said. Keep trying. You don't think Tsunade-sama plans on attacking Naruto, do you? No, Sasuke said. She simply wants to know his abilities as well as Yumi's. She's basically still trying to look out for him as a mother. Oh, Sakura said. Well, I don't like Yumi. Something about her gives me an uneasy feeling. Well, there's nothing you can do unless she proves to be a threat, Sasuke said. So control yourself. You plan on fighting Naruto again, don't you? Yes, I was caught off guard last time. Yes, but you do know Naruto has improved, the pink-haired Kunoichi stated. And you two weren't fighting at full power. I know this. Next time it will be all out, so once and for all we will know who the strongest is. In Naruto and Yumi's room. So they're gonna attack this soon? Yumi asked. Yes, Naruto said. But Takashi told me that it will only be around 600 shinobi attacking. Should we tell them? I guess we'll have to. Do you not want to? I don't know. Naruto lay back in bed staring at the ceiling. You know, Yumi said, resting her head on his chest. It could make things easier if you choose not to say anything. True, but if they think I'm against them now, then things could get complicated. That's true. The girl traced her finger over his chest while thinking. Tell them in the morning. You sure? Yes, Naruto, I'm sure. No need to get into trouble this soon. I agree. Let's get some sleep. Tomorrow might be a long day. Okay, Naruto said, kissing her on the forehead. Good night, Yumi. Good night, Naruto. Next morning, the group had checked out of the hotel and was getting ready to split up for their assignments. Sasuke, we need to hurry up with this and get out of here. What do you mean? The Uchiha asked. An informant of mine told me that in 2 weeks an attack will be launched on Konoha. What? Sakura shouted. Everyone stared in shock. So we have to hurry and deliver that treaty proposal to the Raikage, and get to the Kiri as soon as possible to see if we can aid them and find out their plans. What use is delivering the treaty proposal if they're going to attack? Ino asked. Because the old lady said the Raikage is expecting us, Naruto said. Yes, and since that is true, not delivering it would alert him that something is off, Shikamaru cut in. If that happens, a full-scale attack is almost inevitable. Then let's move. Give me the letter. You guys can go ahead and go, I'll catch up. Sasuke looked at Naruto for a second before responding. Fine, he said, handing over the letter. But you better not fuck this up, dope. No need to worry about me. Naruto vanished from sight, and the others began heading to the docks. At the Raikage Tower, Naruto arrived and was greeted by 2 of Kumogakure's ANBU members who escorted him to the Raikage's room. As the blonde shinobi entered, he knelt. What is it you want? The Raikage asked. Raikage-sama, I have been sent here to deliver a letter to you. The blonde Jinchuriki extended his arm with the envelope in hand. The white-haired Kage motioned for the ANBU member on his right to take the letter. The Raikage took the letter from the guard and opened it to read it. After looking it over, he looked up at Naruto and was quiet for a moment. I will give this some consideration. Thank you, Raikage-sama, the blonde Jinchuriki said, bowing. I will inform Tsunade-sama as soon as possible. Good, you are dismissed. Naruto stood, bowing again, then turned and exited the room. As soon as the blonde was gone, the Raikage disintegrated the letter with a flare of lightning from his hand. At the docks, the group was boarding the boat to the Earth Country for their rendezvous with the Kawakami clan. Naruto still had not shown up. Sasuke-san, are we waiting for Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. He has information that he has to explain to us. I'll explain after we've left the dock. Everyone turned to see Naruto walk up the ramp to the boat. Don't just stand there, we're in a hurry. Naruto, what did why Ino was cut off before finishing her sentence, I said after we've left. The blonde turned to the captain. Take us to Kirigakure. Stop in Whirlpool country on the way. We're supposed to go to IWA too. Sakura, be quiet, Naruto said. Everyone follow me. The group followed Naruto to one of the cabins. They all took seats waiting for what the blonde shinobi had to say. Okay, now listen closely. We are going to Kirigakure. Naruto, Tsunade-sama said that. My fucking gosh, you women are impossible sometimes, Kiba said sounding irritated. Let the man talk, damn it. That way you won't have to ask questions. You flea bag if you don't. Shut up. Ino turned to Sasuke, who decided to continue after gaining her attention. The sooner he can explain, the sooner we can figure out what the hell it is we need to do. Thank you. Now everyone listen. We are not going to see the Kawakami family. I know them, and already know they will not take Konoha's side, Naruto explained. When we get to the Kiri, we need to get the plans from them that Tsunade said they should have ready for us, and get back to Konoha ASAP. Hold on, how do you know the Kawakami family won't agree? Sakura asked. That is none of your business. Hey, you said something about an attack on Konoha, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. How big do you think the attack will be? Big enough to do a decent amount of damage to Konoha if it works according to their plans, Naruto said. There has to be something we can do, right? Kiba asked. It would make sense for us to finish whatever task we have in Kirigakure quickly, and head back, Shikamaru said. That or half of us go back to warn Tsunade and the other villages. That's what I was planning on suggesting, Naruto said. That way we can still complete the mission and warn the village early enough to develop a defensive plan. So I take it you're planning on going back to Konoha. That's right. Well, Sasuke started. If that is the case, you go to Kirigakure and speak to the Mizukage. The rest of us will return and explain to the Hokage. Okay, Naruto agreed. But Yumi and Shikamaru are coming with me. Why do you need them? Sakura asked. I don't feel too enthusiastic about leaving Yumi in your care, and Shikamaru is the lead strategist, as you already know. Well, you will have to leave immediately we reach Whirlpool country, Ino stated. We don't have to dock. The boat can keep going, Naruto said. We can leave as soon as we're close enough to see land. I guess it's safe to assume you plan on running across the water to the land, Shikamaru implied. Yes, the blonde answered. He turned and headed for the door. That's all I have to say. We won't be there for a few hours, and I'm going to tell the captain. All right, Sasuke said. But don't waste any time once we're within range. I don't plan on it. Naruto then exited the room, and Yumi followed after him. Sasuke, how do you think Naruto knows this? Sakura asked. Either he has an informant of some sort, or he did investigating of his own sometime during the night, the Uchiha said. I wonder what else he knows. If he knows anything else, he probably only trusts few people with that information, Shikamaru said. I guess that would make sense, Ino agreed. It's not like we've ever done anything to gain his trust in the past. Well, I'm going to take a nap, the shadow user said, standing. I'll see you all later. Everybody agreed that it would probably be best to rest and restore energy for the rest of their mission. Out on the deck, Naruto was leaning on the rail looking out at the sea, trying to think up a plan of his own. Naruto turned to see his fiancée walking towards him. Yumi? I thought you were going to take a nap. It's not even noon yet, and besides, you know I'm restless. I know. So why aren't you taking a nap? I'm thinking. About? It's just I don't know. Naruto said, turning to her. You know? What if my whole plan is a mistake? What if it doesn't work? What if it does work and I'm not happy with the outcome? Naruto, you will know when the time is right, the dark-haired girl said. For now, just focus on the present, okay? Everything will happen the way it's supposed to, so there's no need to worry. I guess, Naruto sighed, putting his hands behind his head. Naruto, I'm starting to think a nap might not be such a bad idea. But I'm not. Naruto paused as Yumi embraced him from behind and ran her hands across his chest and stomach. Oh, yeah, but we can't just nap unless we're tired, she whispered into his ear. I have to agree with you there, Naruto said as he turned and kissed her. Come on, I don't know how long the trip is, and I have a few things I want to try out. Is that so? What might they be? Yumi simply winked as she led him to one of the cabins by the hand. Early in the morning before sunrise, Naruto had awoken from his nap and noticed Yumi was gone. He got out of the bed and put his clothes back on before heading out to the deck where Shikamaru and Yumi were waiting. You're just in time, Naruto, Yumi said. We're close enough to reach the land. Did the boat already stop in Whirlpool country? He asked. Yeah, while we were sleeping, Shikamaru answered. Then let's not waste any time, Naruto said, jumping down to the sea below. Yumi and Shikamaru followed suit, and the trio rushed towards the mainland. Naruto, Yumi, and Shikamaru stood before a woman waiting earnestly for a reply as she paced back and forth before them. So, Mr. Uzumaki, you're saying Konoha is willing to assist us if we return the favor? An auburn-haired woman asked. She was the Mizukage of the hidden mist village, Torune. She was average in height, with a slender frame. Her hair flowed down to her ankles. She had green eyes with a mischievous gleam, and nicely sized, which her robes attempted lazily to conceal. She wore mesh leggings as well as a mesh top which left her shoulders and a good amount of cleavage exposed. Over it she wore a blue robe which started just below her top with a zip in the front, and came down a little past her knees but left an opening on the right side exposing her right leg. Around her waist was a white belt with a pouch on the back left side. Then on her feet she sported white high-heeled sandals, and for protection, white shin guards. Yes, and Mizukage-sama. Please, Mei is fine. The title and honorific makes me feel old. My apologies, Mei, Naruto responded. But we need an answer as soon as possible. Okay, the Mizukage paused, eyeing Naruto and Shikamaru. I have a bad feeling about this, Shikamaru whispered to Naruto. You always worry too much, the blonde whispered back. The Mizukage approached the trio. It won't be too much trouble, I'll agree to this. But I'd also like a little something extra in return, she said, circling around behind and smacking both Naruto and Shikamaru on the behind. Both men stood straight, shocked, looking at each other trembling. Naruto slowly turned his head towards his fiancée, whose eyes had flared up. Naruto quickly turned to face the Mizukage. Mei, this is my fiancé, he said, pointing at Yumi. Shikamaru's free, take him. He can put in twice the work to make up. Wah dash! Shikamaru's jaw dropped, and he stared wide-eyed at Naruto, who mouthed, I'm sorry. I suppose that'll have to do. It's a shame though, Mei sighed. If your little girlfriend doesn't mind sharing some time, I'm willing to take a rain check? She took Shikamaru by the hand and led him away as he muttered troublesome over and over under his breath. That lucky bastard, Naruto said. What was that? Yumi asked, anger in her voice. Huh? Oh, the unlucky bastard, I said, Naruto replied quickly. He's always complaining about work and how everything is troublesome, and now he's getting dragged off to do who knows well we know what, but yeah, purr Shikamaru. Oh yeah, he's the lazy one you mentioned when telling me about your Chunin exam. He was the only one who made Chunin, right? Sure is. So, well, if they're gonna go do that, I think we should go ahead and have a little fun of our own. No, Yumi said, crossing her arms. Why? Naruto asked, almost whining. Don't think I'm not onto you. You got all excited after she spanked you, so I'm not doing anything until we get back. Enjoy your blue balls, mister. On the boat to Fire Country, Sasuke stood near the back of the boat, leaning against the rail and looking out at the sea while consumed with his thoughts. Many things crowded his mind, from Naruto's return, to the mission, to training. He was drawn out of thought by a hand on his shoulder. Sasuke-kun? It was Sakura. Are you okay? Yeah, he replied as he turned to her and smirked. Why wouldn't I be? You tell me, Sakura responded. Are you thinking about Naruto? A little. Do you want to kill him? Sasuke remained quiet. He thought about it a few times over the past few years, especially recently, after a talk with Danzo. Flashback. Right before the mission, Sasuke had just finished preparing to leave. As he left the Uchiha mansion and walked into the courtyard, he was met by Danzo Shimura. What do you want? Come now, Sasuke, is that any way to speak to your superior? Respect is earned, not received on a silver platter, the Uchiha stated. Very well then, I'll get straight to the point. I assume Itachi revealed to you his mission on that night he exterminated the Uchiha Hinata? What of it? Well, you see, Danzo began. You now have the chance to follow in his footsteps for the sake of the village. You know that other than you, Konoha was the most important thing to your elder brother. I'm fully aware, and I thought you said you would get straight to the point. Oh yes, of course. It's a simple task really. On this mission, I want you to keep a close eye on Uzumaki. If he is revealed to be a threat to this village, do not hesitate to strike him down wherever he might be standing, sitting, or even sleeping if you must. Humph, Sasuke smirked and walked past him to meet up with the others and leave for the hidden cloud village. End flashback. Sasuke turned to Sakura. How much longer until we reach land? We should arrive by dawn. I see. Sakura studied Sasuke for a moment. Come with me. Huh, you look stressed. So, I'm a medic, Ninja, handling things like this is my specialty, the pink-haired woman said. I suppose it wouldn't hurt, Sasuke said, but when we get back forget about training, you need a release, so come on before you waste the whole night making excuses. Sakura then headed off towards the sleeping quarters and Sasuke soon followed. Elsewhere, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Yumi were on their way to the docks to catch the next boat back to the Fire Country. Shikamaru was still in a sour mood over what ended up transpiring with the Mizukage, Mei. Come on, Shikamaru, it couldn't have been that bad, Naruto laughed. The shadow user just muttered under his breath. Naruto, don't give him such a hard time, Yumi said in a scolding voice. I think the Mizukage already took care of that part. Yumi just shook her head. On a more serious note though, Shurikam, it's about not visiting the Kawakami clan, isn't it? The genius asked, cutting Naruto off. Exactly, the blonde replied. Naruto, you know I can't lie. I know, Naruto said. He paused for a brief moment. Do what you must. I won't ask you to do that. It's okay. As long as I'm not asked directly, I won't have to answer directly. But what if they happen to find out? Yumi cut in. Then we'll have to improvise, Naruto replied. We can't take any outsider near the Kawakami clan or reveal their location under any circumstances. What do you think the Hokage and her council will say when they find out? I'll deal with it, the blonde responded. 2 days later, Sasuke and his half of the team had already returned to Konoha and been debriefed by Tsunade on their mission. They had also informed her of the attack, which was now just over a week away. Sasuke was at the Uchiha training grounds perfecting his techniques with only the thought of surpassing Naruto on his mind. He thought back to their recent fight. Flashback. Holy Niji began, unable to finish his thought. That Churka, Taiju Kage Bunshin, Raisin Rengen Rendan. The shadow clones all charged Sasuke with unbelievable speed. Upon impact there was a tremendous explosion, tearing up the terrain and knocking over nearby trees as well as sending a fair amount of the spectators to the ground. The dust had cleared and Naruto was standing over Sasuke with both his sword and Kusanagi pinning Sasuke to the ground through both his shoulders. "Looks like you lose," Naruto said, pulling his sword from the unconscious Uchiha's shoulder, putting it back in the sheath. "Team." He turned around, walked off, and flashback. I allowed myself to get caught off guard. I didn't expect Susanoo to be able to be broken like that, Sasuke thought to himself. I should have taken that bastard more seriously. "Sasuke-kun!" A familiar voice called. He turned and saw Sakura heading towards him from the house. "Do you want something to eat?" "I'm about to go into town." "Sakura, I'm busy right now." "I know, but you should take a break. Pushing yourself like this will only see I'm going to do it." Sakura looked at him slightly confused. "Do what?" "Kill him." "What? Kill who?" A few moments later realization hit her. "And Naruto?" "Yeah." Sasuke turned and looked at her. He might have sounded serious, but when Sakura saw his eyes she could tell that he was still uncertain. "Don't you think you should think about it? There's no reason to do that if it can be avoided. Besides, he hasn't done anything wrong." "It doesn't matter," the Uchiha said sternly. "Yes it does, because something is bothering you, but you haven't told me what it is." "I don't know." "Come on, you don't have to be shy around me anymore." "I don't know." "Sasuke, you know why." "I don't know." Sasuke turned his back to her. "I thought things would be different after my brother died. I thought I could live without worrying about trying to catch him in strength. Even though I was the last one standing, I later found out that it was his sickness that eventually killed him." "But that was 3 years ago," Sakura said. "I thought you would have been over it by now." "I know, but knowing that all those years, the numerous encounters with Itachi and he had been sick, fighting off the disease, and dealing with his chakra being so low, but he was still so powerful. It makes me wonder exactly how strong he was or would have been had his health been perfect," Sasuke explained. Now Naruto returned and the feelings came back with him. "It's why I have to beat him, I have to defeat him somehow, or I'm not sure if I'll ever truly be at peace." "Sasuke-kun, you'll be fine," Sakura said. "I'm sure win or lose, if you two fight again, you'll be able to find peace no matter what." "Maybe." "Let's go for a walk," Sakura said, taking him by the arm. "It'll help ease your mind, and we can get some food too." Sasuke sighed as he sheathed his sword and went along. In the Hokage's meeting room, Naruto, Yumi, and Shikamaru had returned. Shikamaru had been debriefed on his own by Tsunade before being assigned the task of formulating a defense strategy for the impending attack. Yumi was exploring the village since she didn't feel like sitting around for questions. Naruto, however, was brought before the council and village clan heads to answer more specific questions concerning the decision not to contact the Kawakami clan. "This is an outrage," Danzo said. "Utterly unacceptable. How can you justify your actions in choosing to deviate from speaking with Hiryu Kawakami with the knowledge of an oncoming attack?" "Because we didn't have time," Naruto shouted. "Calm down, we don't have time for arguments," Tsunade said. "Naruto, I want you to leave immediately. Go to Earth Country and meet with Hiryu-sama at once." "I will not. This isn't a negotiation or a game." "In case you've forgotten, I have no obligation to follow your commands," the blonde replied. "In that case, he should give us their location if he doesn't want to go himself," Kohara said. Naruto glared at the woman. "Listen here, old lady, I'll say this in a way easier for everyone to understand. I gave my word that I would not reveal the location of their home to anyone. Everybody from that village is like one big family, and I can't get them involved in this. Not only that, but if this gets out of hand, I need a place to send Yumi and her mother to keep them out of harm's way." "Uzumaki, this is for the sake of your home," Inoichi stated. "No. That place has been a better home to me than Konoha ever was or ever will be. Besides, Jiraiya-sensei is the only other person you know who could get to the village, but he would never reveal that. Also, nobody from that village would ever say so aloud, even in the village itself. Their sense of unity is something you will never see anywhere else. In the face of death against an enemy, a person from that village would readily ask their foe to let them commit suicide before speaking a word of the village's whereabouts." Naruto stood preparing to leave. "Where do you think you're going?" Tsunade asked. "I'm hungry." "That can wait," Hamura said. "The village has concerns bigger than your appetite." "Oh, really?" the blonde asked. "Wanna bet then?" "'Cause I can eat a lot, my appetite is pretty big." "You fool!" Hayashi scolded. "You think we have time to sit around here and play games with you? You mean what you've been doing for the past 45 minutes? Everyone please settle down," Tsunade said. "This meeting is over as far as I'm concerned," Naruto said. "Boy, you will regret your actions here today," Danzo said. "That a threat?" "No threat. More of a reprimand, if you will." "Oh, okay. Well, I have a reprimand for you. If you or Root makes a move against me, I will kill you all. So unless you want to end up sleeping eternally, I suggest you tell your peons to stop tailing me." "What are you talking about?" Shikaka asked. "He knows. Root was disbanded years ago," Kohara said. "You shouldn't shoot your mouth off like that." "That is where you're wrong," Naruto said. "I can prove it if you'd like." "How do you plan on doing that?" Tsunade inquired. "Do you seriously believe him?" Danzo asked. "If he doesn't call off the 2 fools he has following me around within the next half hour, I will kill them. I will hang them up in the center of the village, cut open with their insides spilled upon the ground around them. Then I will cut off their heads and leave them there on the ground in the mess of their inner workings. You are a disgrace to your faith. Danzo was stopped short as Naruto shot across the room and grabbed him by the throat. Say it, I dare you, the blonde said coldly, staring Danzo straight in the eye. Naruto, that's enough, Tsunade shouted. Naruto looked at her before releasing Danzo. He walked over to Tsunade and got right in her face. Either you get to the bottom of it and get them off my back, or I'm going to. Naruto, if you kill any before she finished her sentence, the blonde shinobi vanished in a swirl of black flame. Danzo, if you know anything, you had better start talking immediately, Tsunade said. She's right, Shikaka stated. If he starts leaving dead bodies around the village, it'll do nothing but serve to create chaos. The boy is looking for a reason to avoid assisting by choosing not to involve the Kawakami clan, Danzo stated. Do you not see this? Either that or he wants an excuse to make an attack on my life, and I will not stand for it. You better be right, the Hokage warned. Since we can't persuade him, we'll have to try alternative methods of getting the location of the clan from him. Any suggestions? We can try seducing Hai, Shikaka stated. True, after spending so much time around Jiraiya, some of his perverse nature should have rubbed off on him, Koharu agreed. Very well then, the buxom blonde said after a brief moment of thought. Get Enko and Ino Yamanaka on this ASAP. Elsewhere in the village during the evening, Naruto finally found Yumi, who was eating out for dinner with Hinata, Ino, and Sakura at the Shushuya pub. Hello Naruto-kun, Hinata greeted shyly. Hello Hinata, how are you? I'm okay, the white-eyed girl replied with a slight blush. Even after all the years that had passed, she still found herself to be very timid around him, especially when spoken to directly. Yumi, wanna play a game? Naruto asked. What do you have in mind? The black-haired girl replied, sounding interested. How about hide and seek? The blonde said. Scavenger style. Ugh. Yumi jumped out of her seat. Like when we were in Demon Country? Exactly. You know the two objectives, correct? Which one do I get? The bugs. What are you two talking about? Sakura asked in vain as the two ignored her and kept chatting excitedly. I think Naruto-kun and Yumi-san are going to play a game, Hinata said, sounding slightly unsure. Geez, Ino sighed. No matter how much he grows up, he still hasn't grown up. Sakura stood from the table and headed for the exit. Are you leaving already, Sakura-san? Hinata asked. I'll catch up with you guys later. I have to do something for Sasuke-kun. But those bugs are poisonous, Yumi exclaimed. Fine, you take the other one. Just remember not to stand still too long, Naruto warned. I already know that. You worry too much. Hinata, Ino, would one of you mind counting us down from 3? Naruto asked. Okay, Ino said. 3, 2, 1. Before she could say go, both vanished from sight. Ino-san. Both Hinata and Ino turned to see an Umbu guard with a letter for her. What's this? The blonde Kunoichi asked. It's your special assignment from the Hokage. Details are inside. The guard left without another word. Well, I guess I'll be leaving now, Hinata said as her friend opened the letter and looked at it. I'm sorry, Hinata, but I don't think this is something I can share, Ino said, turning her eyes to the ground. Is it about Naruto-kun? The Hyuga heiress inquired. Ino nodded. Hinata, I'm sorry, It is okay, Ino-san. I understand. Tsunade-sama gave you a task. It is not your fault. Thank you, Hinata, Ino said. I'll catch up with you later? Of course. I'll be busy this week training with Niji to prepare for the attack though. Maybe after it passes so we have time to relax? Sounds good, see you soon, the flower specialist said as she left the restaurant. Hinata activated her Byakugan and read Ino's letter. As she did, she became furious. She stood and decided to make her home for the day. Elsewhere, Sasuke-kun, Naruto and Yumi are up to something. Sasuke looked at Sakura questioningly. What do you mean? They're after something, or someone, I'm not sure. What did they say? Sasuke asked. Something about playing a game, Sakura stated. Naruto is going after bugs, but there's something about them being poisonous, and Yumi was warned not to stand still for too long. The Uchiha thought for a second. After a moment it hit him. Sakura, find Yumi now, I'll find Naruto. They're after a member of the Aburame clan and Yamanaka clan. Both sped off immediately in hopes of preventing a fight from happening. With Naruto, Naruto had found his target and was perched on a tree branch above him. It was a man of average height, man with short dark hair. He had on a mask leaving only his mouth visible and glasses covering his eyes. He was wearing all black with a red sash around his waist and a tanto over his right shoulder. It was Torune Aburame, a member of Root. Naruto had tailed him from the village to the Forest of Death. It was obvious to the blonde that his target was aware he was being followed. He then called out to him. So you wanted to spare the villagers of the brutal end to your life, I see. The man looked up to Naruto before responding. You're mistaken, you are the one who will die here. Don't make me laugh, the blonde said, taking off his hooded cloak, folding it and setting it down on the branch. He then stretched briefly before shooting towards his opponent. With Yumi, Yumi managed to track her opponent, who as Naruto's led her to the Forest of Death. She was unaware Naruto was there as well, but she knew he was being followed. Different feeling when you're the one being followed, isn't it? She said as she jumped down and landed behind him. The man turned to face her. He was young, and had short auburn hair stopping just above his shoulders and part of it tied back in a short ponytail. He wore a short black jacket which stopped halfway down his sides. Under it he wore a longer red kimono and black pants along with black sandals. His name was Fujamanaka. You will regret this with your life, girl, Yumi said, activating her Taiyugen, Eye of the Sun, and unsheathing her katana. I don't think I'm the one who'll be dying here. Fu studied her for a moment as he tried to assess how to handle her. He was caught off guard as his right sleeve erupted in flames. What? He attempted to put it out but had to focus on fending off the incoming sword. He pulled out his tanto to deflect Yumi's blade before jumping away and discarding his jacket which was still burning. So is that your Keki-Eigenkai's ability? Fire manipulation? Yes, but that's the last thing you'll learn about me, the girl said, vanishing from sight. Akumahano! Demon flame. Fu jumped into the air as the spot he had been standing erupted in flames from underground. He tilted slightly to his side and sent an elbow straight behind him, dodging Yumi's attack and hitting her in the face. He grabbed her and threw her back down towards the ground. You'll have to do better than that. Shit, he must be able to sense my chakra, Yumi thought. She looked up at the sky. The moon wasn't a full one, but it was as close as it could get. She then thought about a new technique she'd been working on. I should gather as much energy as possible and try it out. Giving up already? Fu said, approaching her. No, just feeling you out, came the reply. Tsuyakage Bunshin no Jutsu. Strong shadow clone technique. You think that will help you? You might be able to sense my chakra, but it doesn't mean you'll always be able to keep up, if you say so. Fu then charged towards her. Yumi waited for her opponent to attack, then at the last second slipped to the side. As she did, one of her clones went to grab his arm. The root member kicked as he stepped just outside its reach. He became surprised when the clone didn't disperse. His hesitation almost caused him to be hit from behind by a stab aimed for the center of his back. He turned around just in time to deflect the blade with his own. As he did, the clone dropped its weapon and its arms around him. Gokakyu! Hellfire Sphere. Fu looked up to see a giant ball of fire descending upon him. He tried to wiggle free, but the other clone had grabbed on to both his ankles. He was running out of time. With Sakura. Sakura was jumping rooftop to rooftop until she caught sight of the ball of fire coming from the sky off in the distance. That's the forest of death, she thought. She immediately sped off in that direction. I just hope I'm not too late. With Sasuke, that's most likely not Naruto, the Uchiha thought as he took note of the fireball. I've never seen him use fire techniques. But if she's there, he has to be close by. Sasuke headed in the direction as well, hoping to find any sign of Naruto in the area. With Naruto, Sonic Kabuma. A blade of wind sliced through a large number of poisonous insects, followed by a fierce shockwave. Give up already and let me just cut your head off. You're making this more complicated than it needs to be. You're mistaken, Uzumaki. You'll never make it out of this place alive. Okay, let me say this in a way you will understand. I assume you know who my father was, correct? The Yellow Flash? What about him? You think that with that knowledge I wouldn't know his most popular technique? You lie. Torune said as he charged Naruto and slashed at him with his tanto. Milliseconds before it connected, the blonde shinobi vanished. Hey, up here. Torune looked up to see Naruto with his finger through the ring of a three-pronged kunai which was dangling from it. Shit, the Aburaim member cursed under his breath, recognizing it from data books. What's wrong? Notice something you don't like? Naruto chided. I should also warn you, my mother was from the Uzumaki clan. With that comes a few things. I better think of something fast. Torune thought as Naruto jumped down from the tree and began circling him. Yeah, Fuinjutsu, high chakra levels and longevity. Well then that shortens the lecture for me a little. It comes with some other things. One is the ability to sense negative emotions. It was passed down by my mother, but also due to having Kurama sealed inside of me it was further enhanced by his ability to do so as well. One of the others not many know about is the Kagura Shingon, Mind's Eye of Divine Entertainment. What's that? It means I'm extremely adept at sensing chakra, Naruto said as he kicked the root member's legs out from under him. So I can tell when you're preparing an attack, and right now that's not in your best interests. Shit, but unfortunately for you, Naruto trailed off. Torune sat up and looked around. The blonde had disappeared from sight once again. He stood up and retrieved his weapon as he searched frantically for any trace of his adversary. Show yourself, you cow. Prepare to die. Naruto. Both the blonde and Torune turned to see Sasuke with his Sharingan activated. Naruto reattached his Hiraishin kunai to his hidden kunai mechanism to keep the Uchiha from taking note of it as he addressed him. Sasuke, things would be less complicated if you just go on your way now. What the hell are you doing? You can't just attack one of our own like that. Funny coming from you. Don't make me kill you, baka. Listen, if you make this more troublesome than it needs to be, I'll just finish you both, the blonde said. Well, what's going on here? The Sharingan wielder asked. I told Danzo if he didn't call this guy and the other he had tailing me and Yumi off our backs that I'd kill him. Yumi's handling his friend though, was the reply. What's that about? Don't listen to him. He's lying, Torune pleaded. The blonde turned his cold blue eyes towards the Uchiha. Are you serious? That old bastard Danzo is still operating Root despite claims of it being disbanded. Also, I met with Itachi a few times before he died. I'm sure you remember when he was accused of murdering his best friend. Sasuke was surprised. Naruto meeting a number of times with Itachi? That was something he hadn't expected. What are you getting at? Well, I guess I shouldn't get too into that, but in any case, this isn't a situation that involves you. Listen, you should be more worried about Sakura, as I'm assuming you had her go after Yumi. What do you mean? Sasuke asked, slightly confused. Yumi isn't as patient as I am. She's more likely to kill Sakura immediately versus trying to talk it out. Kyuso. Sasuke shunshined away in search of the two women before things got out of hand. Don't leave me. The Aburame was silenced as the blade from Naruto's shikamazu separated his head from his body. Naruto stood over the body, which was still covered with insects. Well, better dispose of these bugs before dropping him off in the village. Don't need to have a bunch of poisonous insects feeding off the village. Rasen Shuriken. Small Rasen Shuriken, Naruto said, forming a Rasen Shuriken of about the same size as a regular Rasengan. Over the years he had developed it to where he could use it normally without having to worry about the damage to his body experienced when he first created the jutsu. He drove it into Torian's decapitated corpse, destroying the venomous insects on it. The blonde shinobi then retrieved his hooded cloak from the tree he placed it on earlier before grabbing Torian's head and body. He then proceeded towards the center of the sleeping village. With Yumi, Fu was exhausted, low on chakra, and severely burned. He couldn't keep up with the onslaught of attacks from his female adversary who recently had started mocking him. I thought you were supposed to be strong, Yumi moaned with disappointment. Fu saw his opening as she was sheathing her katana. Now's my chance. The Yamanaka sent his Shintenshin no Jutsu straight at Yumi as his body collapsed. Seems you made a mistake, Yumi said before vanishing in a cloud of smoke. You attacked my shadow seal. Never mind, he probably can't even hear me. His soul's probably lost since I dispersed the clone anyway. The black-haired woman was about to bring her sword down upon his head when her attack was stopped by a hand on her wrist. What's going on here? Yumi turned to see a familiar pink-haired kunoichi behind her. What do you want? I'm busy. If you think I'm going to let you leave here unanswered after making an attempt on the life of a Konoha shinobi, you're sadly mistaken. You don't even know what's going on in your own village. It's an Ise no Genjutsu, false reality, the Taiyugen wielder stated. How do you figure that? You haven't even been here a week, Sakura said angrily. You really are a fool, aren't you? Excuse me. Sakura was cut off by a swift back kick to her stomach. She twisted and yanked on Yumi's arm, causing her to drop her sword, then brought her fist up preparing to attack. Nanririsu. Flame release. A burst of flames erupted from Yumi's body, slightly burning Sakura and sending her flying back a little. I already know of your chakra-enhanced strength. How could she possibly know that? Sakura wondered. Hiryu-sensei has a library back in Mura no Zie Hiryu. Basically it's like a bingo book, a super-sized bingo book. There's information on jutsu, Kekkeigenkai, Kaiges, mercenary groups, organizations, anything you want to find. He has information on me? Not just you, everyone, apart from honorary members of the clan as well as actual clan members. You see, their kenjutsu and genjutsu styles are highly sought after, so they have to be prepared to ward off invaders at any given moment. Well then, you should know enough about me to know that I'm going to kick your ass. Then I'll drag your broken body back to the Tsunade-sama for questioning. Feel free to try. I've been waiting for this actually, Sakura admitted. Why? You have a secret crush on my man? Yumi asked. I don't blame you. I mean, being with a guy who spent 3 years in a cave as a child with a pedophile, it must be hard wondering if he sees you as attractive or if he's been sneaking off to play with the other team at night. What was that? The pink-haired kunoichi asked as her eyebrow twitched. Also, with that big forehead of yours, and your flat ass and chest, come to think of it, I don't think I've seen anyone else in this village as flat as you, save for the children of course, Yumi replied. Inner Sakura, destroy that bitch, I'm going to murder you. Sakura screamed. Sakura, the medic Nin turned to see Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, stand back while I handle this. Sasuke looked around confused. What is it you're handling exactly? What? You don't see that bitch that blonde idiot brought back to this village? Shit, what's wrong? She must have caught you with a genjutsu somehow, Sasuke said, performing a seal. Kai, damn it. I should have known. She didn't even form any hand seals or anything. I guess she already got to Fu then. Sasuke-kun, we have to tell Tsunade-sama immediately, Sakura said. I agree, you go do that. I have to check something, the Uchiha stated before vanishing from sight, while Sakura then took off in the direction of the Hokage's tower. Next day during the afternoon, Tsunade was watching the mess in the village from her office window. The streets of Konoha were in chaos. People were running around frantically to keep children inside and away from the grotesque display put up in the village center for all to see. Anbu and Jonin were in the area trying to keep everyone as calm as possible, but were having very little luck in doing so. Tsunade-sama, do you still want us to carry on our task? Tsunade turned to Anko and Ino. Yes, immediately. We can bring Naruto in for questioning on this later. Right now finding the Kawakami clan's village is top priority. Yes, ma'am, both kunoichi said before leaving to find the blonde whose notoriety in the village was slowly increasing. With Naruto was on his way to the public bathhouse. He had tried to convince Yumi to accompany him, but she insisted on sleeping. He got there and rented out a private area to himself so he could take the time to relax and meditate undisturbed. Naruto undressed and sat in the water. He leaned back against the wall and closed his eyes. In the locker room, Ino and Anko were getting undressed and preparing to join Naruto as part of their assignment from Tsunade and the council. Anko-san, I don't think I can do this. What do you mean? The snake user questioned as she locked the door to the area, ensuring nobody could interfere. I don't even know what to do. The blonde exclaimed. You're kidding me, right? You work in that flower shop, and I know firsthand what you keep in the back room. Don't think I haven't caught you a few times when I've come in to pick up a little something for myself. Ino blushed. That's right, I've seen you. I must say I'm impressed though. Who would have thought a girl your size could take something that by? Anko. That's personal. Geez, lighten up, I was only complimenting you. Well, thanks, I guess, the younger woman said, even more embarrassed. It's okay. It's natural. Even I have times where I feel like handling my special needs unassisted. Anko admitted. But I know you had to have picked up something from those videos. Yeah, but, don't worry about it. Just do what you saw in the vid. Wait, you're not a virgin, are you? And no. It's just, come on, spit it out. Well, not literally. You'll never hang on to a man doing th. Anko. No. It's not that, the blonde said with her face turning even more red. Well, what is it then? You have no reason to be shy. Look at your body. I'm not shy. I've just never had to do something like this before, the whole seduction for information thing. Well, just follow my lead, the older woman instructed. Besides, I know he looks good. I bet he's even packing something real. Well, we'll find out. You're crazy, the medic said. Haha, I know, but don't think I didn't catch you checking him out before he fought Sasuke. You couldn't keep your eyes off him. Ino was so embarrassed, right, she couldn't even find words to say. Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Thanks, Ino said, trying to get over her embarrassment. Now let's go see what type of trouble we can get ourselves into, Anko said, grinning wildly as she made her way into the bath area. Oh, one more thing, don't use your Shintenshin no Jutsu. We have to entertain him and make him feel like he can trust us. That would compromise the trust aspect of this. Okay, no problem. Now come on, I can't wait to get my hands on Hai. The snake user cut herself short. Just come on. Oh boy, was the last thought on Ino's mind as she followed after Anko. With Naruto. Naruto was relaxed and deep in thought. He had numerous thoughts on his mind. One was how to deal with Sasuke and possibly Sakura. It was unfortunate that they had witnessed the events of the night before. He smirked to himself, remembering the chaos he'd seen in the village on his way to the bathhouse. He didn't doubt for a second that the council would be upset about it. His other thoughts were circling around the Hiraishin no Jutsu. His daydreaming was interrupted slightly as he felt the presence of two other people in the room. Assuming it to be some of the attendants, he shrugged it off until one of them entered the water, and he felt a head come to rest upon his shoulder. He opened his eyes and looked down to see a woman with light brown eyes and violet hair smiling up at him. Damn, remember me? Anko asked, slyly tracing a circle on his chest with her finger. How could I forget, Naruto said as he shuddered, remembering their first encounter. Aw, how sweet of you. Anko turned to the nude Ino, who still hadn't entered the bath, and mouthed, hurry up, while motioning with her head. Ino took a deep breath. Okay, I can do this. Just like the videos, she took another deep breath, then made her way to the bath. Naruto turned to his left with a surprised look on his face as he noticed it was Ino. Okay, what the hell is going on here? Hey Naruto, how's it going? Ino asked, taking her place on the other side of him. It's going, he trailed off. I gotta get myself out of this mess. You don't mind us keeping you company, do you? The blonde kunoichi asked as she pressed up against him. No, not at all. If you'll excuse me for a mom. Naruto paused as he reached for his towel but noticed it was gone. Shit, what? You want us to leave? Anko asked with a saddened expression on her face. Oh no, it's fine. Let's enjoy this time together, the blonde said reassuringly. Good, 'cause all we wanted to do was catch up with you. You've been gone 7 years after all. That's true. Don't worry, it'll be fun, Ino said. That's a promise, Anko added, kissing Naruto on his neck. So, Naruto, Ino began, what were you up to while you were away? A lot of training with Jiraiya-sensei and Hiraya-sensei, and I met Yumi. You guys know she's my fiancé, right? I'm Enga. Sure, it's okay, Anko said. Don't worry. We won't do anything to compromise that. You guys sure about that? 'Cause this seems like y'all are getting pretty close to it. No, it's perfectly fine, Naruto, Ino assured him. Just keep telling us about your time away. Yeah, what was that other guy you trained with? We already know who Jiraiya-sama is, Anko inquired. Oh, you mean Hiraya-sensei? He and Jiraiya-sensei made me bust my ass, the blonde shinobi stated. I can tell, Ino said, eyeing him and taking note of his body, which had toned up as well as the numerous scars. Well? Anko asked. Huh? What? Naruto asked, confused. Tell us about it already. It's not nice to keep a woman waiting, you know. Oh yeah, my bad. Well, where do I start? Where did your training take place? Ino asked, moving in closer to him. In many different places. Oh yeah? The medic asked, taking his arm and putting it around her as she snuggled against him. Yeah, Naruto said, distracted from the feeling of her pressing against his side. Like where? Anko questioned, turning his attention to her. Like Suna? Or Iwo? I was part of the team that reviewed your file. Said you went to Oni no Kuni, Demon Country / Land of Demons. Yeah, I did, on a mission. Most of my training was in the Earth Country though, the blonde answered. Really now, around what parts? I heard it's mostly just mountains up there. Couldn't get much training done in a village. That's true, Naruto said. He was caught off guard as Anko moved over and straddled him. I figured that might make it hard to. Oh my! She exclaimed. Somebody's excited, very excited. Anko, I think maybe you should stop before this goes too far, Naruto said with a hint of worry. Oh, don't worry, I won't do anything. Although I can't say I haven't been thinking about it, the snake user said, running her hands across his chest. Blondie over here's been thinking about it too. Ino was caught off guard but quickly followed up before she lost her momentum and killed the mood. Well, who wouldn't be? Anko looked down at her and mouthed good job. She then turned her brown-eyed gaze on Naruto. So where did you end up being able to train? Ah, so that's what they're after. Well, why not tell them what they already know? Well, only Tsunade and the council know, but these two don't know that, Naruto said to himself before addressing them. In the mountains mostly, around Iwagakure. I can't really get more specific than that. It's okay, we won't make you, Ino said. She then looked at Anko and got up. Damn, those look bigger without being covered. Naruto thought. Well, sorry to cut this short, but I have to go, Ino said, turning to leave. I have to help out at the shop. Don't have too much fun, Anko said, which caused Ino to freeze for a second before hurriedly climbing out of the bath and leaving. Well, Naruto, I'm afraid I'll have to leave as well. Oh, so soon, Naruto said while in his head thinking not soon enough. We can take this to another level next time if it's okay with your fiancé, the brown-eyed woman said, standing. Naruto couldn't help but stare. I already know you like what you see, just remember only a very small number get to see me this way and live. Huh? I might die. The blonde asked, sounding worried. Only if you say anything, the kunoichi said as she winked at him. She then proceeded to climb out of the bath. Anko, wait. What? Please don't tell anyone. Geez, I'm not a bitch. I won't get you in trouble. I just wanted to tease you and scare you a bit, she said, laughing. Wow, and I thought I was the #1 most hyperactive ninja. I'll be seeing you around, Anko said before exiting the bath area. Yeah, okay, see ya. Naruto got out of the bath and quickly got dressed. So much for a relaxing bath. I have to go see Gaara, Hokage Tower. A half hour later, Tsunade was furious and throwing a fit in her office. Numerous ANBU guards stood outside the open door, peering in and avoiding whatever object happened to be sent flying their way. Some had even started taking bets to see how far they could make it into the office and back out without being incapacitated. This is an outrage, the Bustakage shouted. We have nothing. Well, sheesh, it's not like you told me what you guys knew or didn't, Anko the Hokage growled. It was assumed you knew nothing at all. Since that's the area, why not send out some scouts to see if they can find anything? I mean, it's better than sitting here complaining about it, the brown-eyed Jonin stated. True, Tsunade said as she thought to herself for a minute. Fine, I'll assemble a old lady, shouted an all-too-familiar voice. They turned to see Naruto enter the office. I'm going to Tsunade. I'm leaving immediately, and Yumi is accompanying me. That is all, good day. Before anyone could speak, the blonde shinobi left as abruptly as he came. Everyone looked at Tsunade, who had a vein bulging on her forehead as well as an infuriated look upon her face. Naruto Uzumaki-ai. In the village, everybody froze, staring at the tower from which the scream rang out, terrified for their lives as well as the poor soul who had incurred the Hokage's wrath. Near the western village gates. Yumi, hurry, we gotta make it out of here before Tsunade alerts the ANBU. Naruto, wait! The black-haired woman shouted. What? Naruto asked, stopping to face her. What about my mother? His fiancée inquired, sounding worried. Naruto walked to her, putting his hands on her shoulders and looking her in the eyes reassuringly. She will be fine, Yumi. I put my life on it. If they touch her in any way, I will destroy this whole village. Are you sure? Of course. Plus, I sent Jiraiya-sensei a message to watch after her while we were gone. Okay, that works, Yumi said, relieved. Now let's go, Naruto said, taking off with her right behind him. Western gate. Roger that, an ANBU guard said into his radio. What's up? The other asked. Tsunade-sama said, Naruto Uzumaki is headed our way, and he is not allowed to leave the village at any cost. After what he did to Uchiha-san, I don't think I want to stand in his way. So I'm going to sit over here. You do what you want, soldier. As a Konoha shinobi, it is our duty to protect this village and follow the orders of the Hokage, the first guard stated. Well, as a conscientious objector, there they are, the other ANBU guard shouted. Naruto Uzumaki and Yumi Masaki, stop at once. Naruto, what should we do? Yumi asked as they closed in on the guards. We're not stopping, that's for damn sure, the blonde said, forming a Rasengan. Won't that kill him? No, it's a low-powered one. Should only hospitalize him for a few days. Do not make me repeat myself, the ANBU guard shouted. His partner, who had moved off to the side to hide in the bushes, called out to him. Hey, you idiot! Do you not see that? That thing in his hand? That's the Yandame's Rasengan. I don't care what it is. Do you understand me? We were given a job. That job is TOST. His tirade ended as he was hit in the chest with the Rasengan and sent into a nearby tree. The other guard watched from the bushes, trembling in fear, until Naruto and his feisty fiancée had passed before jumping out and running back to the village for dear life. A few hours later, Naruto and Yumi had slowed their pace to a walk once they felt they reached a point it would be hard to track them. However, Yumi felt they should still hurry at least a little bit. Naruto, can't you use the Jiraiya your father's technique to get us to Suna faster? Yeah, maybe, but I haven't mastered it completely, he admitted. I can use it to cross a village at least. I could even make it to a nearby village, but from country to country is another story. I haven't exactly got the chakra control part for it down that well yet. I see. It's okay though, I know you'll get it eventually, you always do, Yumi said with a smile. Yeah, but on the plus side, throughout the forests between here and there I left markers for it in certain areas. That way I could teleport to them and make traveling easier. There's one about halfway to the village I can get us to once we're close enough. Yeah, but it's getting dark so we should set up camp. You set up the fire and I'll go find food and set a few traps. I still have that deer sealed away from when we were in Lightning Country, so I'll leave that along with a small somewhere to throw them off. At least that way they won't know which route we're taking to Suna. Okay, just don't be gone too long. You know I hate having to wait for you. I know, I'll be back soon, the blonde said as they split up. In Konoha, Tsunade and the council were in the meeting room and nobody could agree on what the next course of action was going to be. Some were in favor of sending a team to the hidden sand village to recover Naruto and Yumi. Some were in favor of that with the addition of imprisonment and torture. This is totally unacceptable, Danzo stated. 2 very skilled shinobi of our village are now dead, and the people responsible were allowed to flee? He warned you about tailing him, did he not? Hayashi Hyuga questioned. We have more important things to worry about as well, Kohara stated. Within the next 5 days the Cloud Shinobi will be here. We still have to prepare for that. She's right, Chuja Akimichi agreed. If we aren't ready the consequences could be grave. Shikamaru should already have a plan drawn up based on what the most logical or beneficial way for them to attack us would be, Tsunade said. As a matter of fact, send for him immediately. What are we going to do about Uzumaki? Danzo asked. Why does he concern you so much? Inoichi Yamanaka questioned. Because what Naruto said was true. Everyone turned shocked to see Jiraiya in the room. Oh, sorry, I didn't get the notice about the meeting so I just let myself in. Hope you don't mind, the Toad Sage said. Jiraiya, what are you doing here? Tsunade asked with a hint of confusion. You should know better than anyone. I wouldn't be here if my apprentice didn't need my assistance. I don't know why you continue to stick up for that ruffian, Hayashi stated. Well, considering I trained his father, it's the least I could do. It's the least any of us could do considering what that boy's parents sacrificed to keep this village standing, Jiraiya said. So are you going to explain yourself? Tsunade asked. What? I write my books for the pleasure of the people. Jiraiya-sama, I think what she was getting at is what you meant by Naruto being right concerning Danzo, Shikaku Nara clarified. Oh yeah, right? Jiraiya took an empty seat at the table before continuing. As you all know, I'm an espionage savant. Apart from staying hidden, it's one of my most useful attributes. Yes, we are all very well aware, the Godame said, impatience in her tone. Now get to the point. Ahem, well, as you see, while gathering inspiration for my next novel. Oh, when does that come out? Everyone turned to Hamura, who sank down in his seat. Never mind, carry on. Well, as I was saying, the white-haired Sannin continued, I was gathering inspiration when I noticed something that didn't seem right. A pair of A and B just strolling on their way towards the forest of death. I decided to follow them. Get it out already! Tsunade shouted. Sheesh, alright, they met up with Danzo with orders to eliminate Naruto if he was deemed a threat. Danzo, is this true? The Hokage asked. What if it is? You mean to tell me you've still been leading route? It was necessary. Somebody take him into custody, Tsunade ordered. The 3 A and B guards in the room moved over to Danzo. 2 took him by the arms as the 3rd escorted them from behind out of the room. As they exited, Shikamaru entered the conference room. Ah, Shikamaru, good to see you, the Godame greeted. Likewise, he responded, taking a seat. How is your plan coming along? It's completed, but I suggest we put it into motion as soon as possible, the shadow user said. They haven't attacked yet, Chuja said. What are we going to do? Well, I decided it would be best to have a few Jonin scouting the areas I marked out as vantage points. What good would that do? Hamura asked. They'd be bound to end up outnumbered and murdered. I'm getting to that. What I mean is, in the outskirts of the village there are smaller civilizations where there are farmers or vendors. The Jonin could take up disguise and work as one of them. That way they can signal back if they spot anything. Jiraiya said. Correct. How many Jonin will you need? Kohara asked. There are 3 areas, so it depends on the area they'll be assigned to. The first is around Otafukugai. It's a busy place with travelers all the time, so it would be perfect as a place for the Cloud Village to station their shinobi until they're ready to attack. Okay, what's the second place? Shikaku asked. The second would be to the north, about halfway to the Valley of the End. Coming from that direction would be the best for flanking, considering it would take longer to go around the village to strike from the exact opposite side, Shikamaru explained. Okay, and the last one? Tsunade inquired. The west, since Iwagakure and Kusagakure will be attacking as well, and there's no need for them to come from any other direction since it would be a waste of time. Okay, well, you get a team on that ASAP. I want you to make sure you get Kakashi and Niji on this as well. There are 2 best trackers, so I want one of them in Otafukugai, and the other watching the west. I'm on it, the genius said, standing from his seat and exiting the conference room. So what now? Jiraiya asked. Session dismissed, the Hokage said. Everyone exited the conference room, heading back to their daily activities. Well, in that case, I have some business to attend to, so see you around, the Toad Sage said, disappearing in a puff of smoke. Tsunade left the conference room, heading straight for her office. Guard! She yelled at an ANBU member down the hall. Yes, ma'am? He asked, running over to her. Send for Ino Yamanaka, Hinata Hyuga, Sakura Haruno, Kiba Inuzuka, and Rock Lee. Have them meet me in my office in 1 hour. Yes, Hokage-sama, the guard said, bowing before heading off to complete his task. Tsunade went into her office and locked the door. She then closed the windows and shut the blinds before taking her seat at her desk. Finally, Tsunade said. She pulled open her drawer, retrieving a copy of Ika Ika Kinbaku, Make-Out Bondage, which she placed on her desk. She then rummaged around in her drawer some more. What the hell, where is it? Tsunade-sama. A voice called after a knock at the door. Who is it? Tsunade responded. Shizen, say. Tsunade cursed under her breath, getting up and unlocking the door. This had better be good because now is not a good time. Shizen took note of Tsunade's agitated state. Oh, I just picked up a package for you. What package? The Hokage asked, confused. This, the assistant replied as she pulled out a bigger than average vibrating dildo from a bag. Give me that. Tsunade hissed, grabbing for it. Not unless you promise to start picking back up on your work, Shizen said, holding it away from her above her head. Because the last few days you've been dumb. Okay, Shizen, that's fine, I'm sorry. Now please, give it back before someone sees. The flustered Kage begged. Fine, but if you don't agree I'll put it out on display, along with your other personal items. Okay, deal. Tsunade said, slamming the door. She went back to her desk and dropped her pants. She hit the on switch but nothing happened. She clicked it a few times before jumping up. Shizen, where are my bad? Unfortunately for her, due to forgetting to pull her pants back up, in her haste she tripped and landed face first on the floor. What were you saying, Tsuna? Shizen stopped as she opened the door to see her mentor face down with her rear in the air and pants around her ankles. She couldn't help but explode in laughter. Why you? The Hokage growled as she got up and her attendant while she pulled her pants back up. OSH, Shizen said as she ran out of the office and down the hall, soon followed by a fuming, now fully clothed Tsunade. Shizen, get back here, with Naruto and Yumi. So they moved? Yumi asked, inquiring about the Kawakami clan and its members. Yeah, I know the place. We'll stop on the way to see Gaara, Naruto replied. It'll be nice seeing Gaara, Temari and Kankuro again, the girl said. We haven't been to Suna in a while. I know, the blonde said, trailing off. What's wrong, Naruto? I just don't want to bring any trouble into their village, you know. I know, but a war is going on. We can't do much about it. I understand that, but I mean, like, I don't want anything happening with me as the direct cause or reason. Gaara worked hard to get where he's at. If helping me brings trouble to Tsunade, as my friend, the blame will fall upon him. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. We've found a lot of ways out of tight situations, some worse than this even, Yumi stated, reassuring him. Yeah, I guess you're right. Let's take a nap and start moving again in a couple of hours when it's a little darker. I'm okay with that, Naruto said, leaning back against the trunk of the tree they were sitting under. Good, 'cause I'm tired as hell, his fiancée stated as she sat at his side and lay her head on his chest. Naruto put his arms around Yumi and looked up at the evening sky. The sun would set in about 3 hours. Then they could move freely and as fast as possible without as much risk of being detected as during the day. The last thought on his mind before dozing off was whether or not a team was being sent after them, and if so, who would it be? Would he have to kill one of his old friends? Later that evening, Kiba, Hinata, Sakura, Ino and Lee had set out on their way after Naruto. Kiba and Lee weren't sure why the mission was necessary but shrugged it off. Sakura was bickering with Ino as usual. Despite the arguing with Sakura, Ino still had the events at the bathhouse on her mind. Hinata, even though she appeared fine on the outside, was wishing she would have had time to speak to the Hokage as she'd planned and still upset about Ino's task. It had been about 3 hours after they left, and it was getting dark. Kiba and Lee had gone off in search of food while Ino, Sakura, and Hinata took care of setting up camp. Eventually they all ate and settled in for the night, but Hinata was still wide awake with a certain blonde, blue-eyed shinobi on her mind.